Hello, everyone, and welcome to the virtual launch party for Tabletop Town. Tabletop Town puts game night in your pocket with a mobile platform to play TTRPGs, now available for download from both Google Play and the App Store. Now, we have some awesome guests and performances coming up, but before we get started, I have some exciting news to share. First off, the Pathfinder 2e core rulebook is now available for purchase on the Tabletop Town Marketplace. Pathfinder 2e character sheets are also available for free from the marketplace, so you can easily get started playing. Second, I'm excited to announce Season 2 of our Tabletop Town collections. Dungeons and Detectives celebrates all things mystery in a new collection of indie games now available to buy on the marketplace. And we're going to get started today with an actual play of one of those featured games, For Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes. All right, everyone, welcome to Tabletop Town presents For Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes. That title is incredible and also a little difficult to say quickly. We are joined today, we are going to have our GM is going to be Andrew J. Young, the creator of the game himself, and then I'm going to go through the rest in alphabetical order here. We've got AlectheBard, Utahime, we've got Lily Dew, and Sydney Amanuel. So we are going through and they're going to be playing this game kind of on Tabletop Town so you guys can see what it's like. We're going to have some fun times. We're going to take a break a bit in the middle, but we are just going to get started. And so I'm going to turn it over to Andrew J. Young. Take it away, Andrew.
Yes, my name is Andrew J. Young. I am your story guide. In this special event, we're going to be playing For Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes. Took me a long time to learn that also, and it's my game.
Now why'd you do that to yourself?
It's great. I love titling games. Interesting things. It's part of the fun of design for me, I think. In this game, whose title I will not repeat, everyone is going to be playing a Sherlock Holmes of one kind or another, one stripe or variety. And they're going to be teaming up to solve crimes, and also secretly one or more of them might, or less, one or more or less of them might be a creature of the night, a vampire of legend. And that is mostly unimportant until it suddenly is not. So we'll deal with that when we get to it. I will let folks introduce themselves very briefly. In the same alphabetical order. I guess we'll start with Alec.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm Alec, or AlectheBard. I'm a TTRPG content creator and professional ballroom dancer, and you can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet, anywhere. That's me.
Delightful. You set the bar so high. I didn't even have a fun fact for me.
So sorry.
That's a Venn diagram with one person in the middle, and that's you.
That's me.
Briana?
I'm not as cool as Alec here, but if you want to see what I'm up to lots of tabletop shenanigans. I go by Utahime on the interwebs. I am a professional cosplayer, and I just happen to be one of the hosts of Tabletop News. So I'm super excited, and hopefully you guys already subscribed to watch Tabletop, and you'll check it out. Super excited to play this game. I love Sherlock Holmes.
Excellent. Lily?
Hi, I'm Lily Dew, and I'm a comedian, and I host the show Dirty Laundry on Dropout.tv.
Fantastic. And last, but certainly not least, Sydney.
Hey, I'm Sydney Amanuel, Sydney Gale on the interwebs, and I'm a TTRPG player. Maybe you know me from the Glass Cannon Network and the Lost Mountain Saga. I've done a bunch of shows and characters that I love, but I have yet to play this game, Andrew. So I'm very, very excited that I get to play with you and all you lovely folks.
Fantastic. That's great. I'm excited. Let's jump right into it. It's a very easy game to get started. So we're going to jump right into character creation, which couldn't be more straightforward. You can click into the rules of the game, and from your character spot, rather, click on your name there and scroll down, add yourself a character. And in this game, you're just going to give yourself a Sherlock Holmes. You can be any kind of Sherlock Holmes. I love a good Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes, a Robert Downey Jr., a Basil of Baker Street, a Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. It's like one
Great.
season. Yeah, one season
Great
cartoon.
back in the day. I loved that show.
Fantastic.
Was
Sean-
Elementary about Watson and Holmes? The Lucy
Yeah,
Liu
it is.
Yes,
show?
it counts.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's got a wild twist in it too, in my
Oh,
understanding.
yeah.
Low-key,
Um,
high-key. It was Sherlock Holmes.
yeah, Dr. House MD. That's a Sherlock Holmes adaptation. Sean Spencer from Psych. Another not quite as direct, but still the exact same sort of like observant, wry consulting detective with a like no nonsense buddy. Lots of Sherlock Holmes out there.
Does Bruce Wayne count?
Ooh, is Bruce Wayne a Sherlock Holmes?
Is a
Sam-
hot dog a sandwich? I guess. Let's just...
Oh, yeah.
Is
I think
the
I wanna-
ocean a soup? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to touch that. I'm not going to touch his Bruce Wayne and Sherlock Holmes.
Is
For the same
Okay,
reason I
alright.
wouldn't.
soup?
Is a Pop-Tart ravioli?
Oh no, I've never heard that one.
That one's my least
goodness.
favorite.
I hate
Oh.
that.
No,
Okay.
don't like it.
If everybody has got their Sherlock Holmes, we're going to go around one more time and let you all introduce your Sherlock Holmes. And we'll reverse it this time. It's exciting. Sydney will go first.
Oh my gosh, I feel so lucky. Okay, I did like an adjacent sort of Sherlock Holmes vibe instead of just like a Sherlock Holmes variation. So I'm Sherlock, Nancy Drew, Holmes. I'm Nancy Drew from the 1950s. It's Nancy Drew here to solve the case. I'm 16.
I love it. That's
Why
fantastic.
did they let me come here? I don't know. I'm 16.
Why are you here? Because you're a great detective.
True.
Okay, Lily, tell us about your Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I'm just a little orphan Cockney boy, Sherlock Holmes. I'm not a Sherlock Holmes that has ever existed before, nor did I research a Cockney accent before this. Kind of just a thing I thought of, and then as it started coming out my mouth, I said, "Do I actually know how to do this accent? Kind of not." But here we are, and I'm 8 years old, and I got no mum and dad.
Street urchin Sherlock Holmes. Absolutely delightful.
Imagine if Oliver Twist were Sherlock Holmes.
Oh gosh. Wait. Okay. That's so many questions have just broken into my mind. Okay, we're gonna leave
Don't
those
think
aside.
about it.
Brianna.
I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to one-up that, but I'm definitely going to one-up my brother. I'm Enola Holmes, which I think counts because I've had to prove myself, even taking my brother's name and reputation and pretending to be him, just so then that way I could start my own agency. So, yes.
Excellent. And this time last, and also certainly not least, Alec.
All right, so I don't think we decided on whether or not Bruce Wayne was a Sherlock Holmes. So I'm gonna be Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, and I'm going to narrate everything I say all the time. I'm currently looking at the camera; they're all looking at me, and I'm gonna narrate everything the entire time because that's the way my mind works, right? That's because I would say.
Wait, we can't have two people breaking the fourth wall. That's my job.
I can break the fifth. It's fine.
Oh,
I got no rules. I'll break any wall.
I didn't realize I wouldn't be the only teen in this group. Turns out we're majority children. This is going to be amazing.
we're smarter than all the other adults, of course.
You're a girl detective. I'm a girl detective. There's room for two. I'm Nancy Drew.
And what year does this story take place in?
I feel like we're all being pulled from different time
2050.
zones.
It's the multiverse of,
Yeah, there you
of
go.
Sherlock
Yes.
madness. That's
Yeah.
what's happening.
And that is absolutely just sort of kind of how it works. So before we jump into the like actual meat of the story where we can all be like, yes, we're all here and everything's cool. We'll do the one other piece of character development. And I will prompt you all to roll on the suspicious quirks table.
Ooh.
Suspicious.
Yes.
This is
So
our secret, right? Our secret quirk.
correctamundo.
Right.
You may be a vampire, or you may just have some vampiric tendencies. And if those vampiric tendencies overlap with the characteristics you've already made, I hope that they don't. I'm sure we'll figure it out together. So I'm just going to prompt a hidden roll. If I click the button, yes, my thumbs. Okay. So now everybody's making an exciting hidden roll on the suspicious quirks table.
Right. And I shouldn't look at other people's rolls.
Right. If those are coming up
Okay.
and you can see them, you should not look at them. But you can then go into the rules. I've gone too far. You can go into the rules and go to the suspicious quirks table. And you will be able to see what your quirk relates to. What thing about you makes you seem like a vampire, even though you're definitely not. And if you are a vampire, you'll note that you just make your own suspicious quirks. And we'll all just not worry about that. Be like, I don't know, it could be anything. Oh, I got all kinds of things I love and don't like, and I'm particular about.
Okay, that's something.
Yeah, get ready to make some character choices.
That's
Yeah.
a choice.
Do we want to like keep these quirks hidden? Or
So, sorry, go ahead.
that was it. That was an
Yeah.
open-ended question.
So you do kind of want to keep the quirks hidden,
Okay.
with the understanding that like part of the game is sort of giving other people, like feeding those out a little bit. So what usually the best way to do it is when you are in the driver's seat and you are like, here's the clue I found, you can finagle that clue or your description of it or your presentation of it to the rest of the group to maybe try to suss out some things that are happening, like, aha, I found this Jello and you'll never guess what flavor it is. Garlic. Who wants a piece? Everybody wants a piece of garlic Jello? You do? So, and that's sort of your opportunity to maybe do some additional detective work to find out which one of your friends, your companions, may or may not be a vampire. So, now you've all got your suspicious quirks and you have figured that out, and you know exactly what it means for your character. If you have a weird accent or a weird other thing about you that you're like, well, this is me now, we will jump into the gameplay.
I should have hired Austin Butler's dialect coach before this. I heard he does incredible work.
Yeah, it can be fun. Okay, so we are going to set the scene, and this is going to call for some additional roles for folks. The first thing that happens is we are going to sort of take turns. Everybody's going to get to do something, and we will we'll just go in order again. We'll go regular alphabetical order. So Sydney, you're going to be bringing up the rear here again, but you will have the sort of biggest job. So you've got to sort of keep an eye on everything else that's happening.
Okay, I'll take notes.
Yeah, it's not going to be that complicated. So Alec will be player one. So you will need to roll on the scene details table. That's a 1d6.
All right.
1d6. Yep, and that can be public. There's no worry there.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Rolled. I rolled a 4.
Great. So in the rules, you can pop over there. I'm looking at it. I'll say what it is. So in this scene, there is in fact either too much potpourri, or it's a shrine to a yes. Wait. I forgot how my own game works. Hold on to that 4. Just hang on to it.
Okay. I write it. I will write it. I'm holding it.
Okay. I have forgotten how my own game works. So actually what your job is going to be also a big job. I hope you're ready. You're going to describe the crime itself in as much detail as you like, but without or just describe the scene without actually describing the crime. So you'll set us up that here's the setting. We are in a cruise ship on a haunted ghost pirate.
We are in a exclusive ski lodge at the top of a mountain. It's like one of those ski lodges that you need to be on a list like for like 10 years to be able to ski on this mountain. How much detail do you want about this?
Yeah, I think that's a great start. I think
right.
I think that's good enough to get us going. And then you've rolled on the 4 on the scene details
Correct.
table. Okay, so you are done. Great job.
Did it.
Okay, we're going on. And Brianna, you will choose one of those 2 details and incorporate that detail into the scene itself. So Alec rolled a 4. That means you get to choose between too much potpourri or there's a shrine to a celebrity here. So you got an exclusive ski lodge in the mountain, and also
There is definitely a shrine to some sort of celebrity. I don't recognize them, to say the least.
interesting. I like what kind. So describe the shrine without describing the celebrity. Then describe the shrine in a little. Give us. Are there candles? Is it a giant
there are those
portrait?
candles that I've seen before. The gentleman has reddish hair. So it looks almost like the Santa Maria candles, but with a gentleman. Possible European descent. I'm not sure. Ginger hair.
Prince Harry.
No. He. I believe that he is someone who's known, often playing those tabletop games. Very popular. But I don't know his name exactly.
Okay,
I
so
feel
it's
like
a
I've seen him
shrine
before.
to
Yes.
a light-skinned, red-haired online tabletop game
And his smile
celebrity.
is very bright and
Big.
seems like a friendly fellow.
Excellent. That's delightful. And then you'll roll on the table again, and you will then
All right.
pass that roll on to Lily.
Okay. And is that a D6?
D6. Yes. Sorry. Just a D6 on the old table there.
All right. My apologies.
Do you,
Roll.
do you need me to prompt you?
Perhaps. I'm so sorry.
Okay. That is not a problem. Not a problem. I'll just send Enola Holmes a quick prompt. We'll leave that public for a D6 roll. There we go. Now you should be able to just drop into like the main chat and
That's a 3.
great. Okay. Excellent. I just keep going back out into the menu. That's not ideal. Okay. So Lily, you are going to be, you're going to be choosing on the scene details table between does this exclusive ski lodge with the shrine to a internet tabletop RPG celebrity have clown memorabilia or also a trampoline floor?
I love it here. This trampoline floor.
Okay. This is exactly how the game always goes. It's okay, so an exclusive ski lodge. Picture perched on the high of the mountains. It's multi-story. It's got the like fake like log exterior, multiple chimneys, all kind of smoking. Inside, deluxe plush carpets, thick multiple these fireplaces going. In the middle, somewhere visible in the lounge, a shrine built, candles, a portrait of somebody standing with their arms crossed, looking slightly to the side, right into the artist camera, what have you. And then as you approach it, the floor becomes completely unstable. You've entered the trampoline part of the lounge, which is most of it.
Whee!
Incredible. All right, Lily, you are going to also third player chooses and incorporates one. You do not roll again. You don't roll. No rolls from you.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going on to Sydney, who is going to tell us what the crime is and how does it fit into this delightful setting we've given ourselves.
Ooh, such an interesting question, Andrew. I don't want to kill the person who this shrine is made out to, but I feel like mayhaps there is a body and it's not moving. That's right. There's been a murder. And there's a lot of it's on the trampoline floor, obviously.
No.
Yeah, and it's wet. The whole room is wet. The trampoline floor is all wet. And they had to shut it down, not only because there was a murder and there was a body in the trampoline room, but it's dangerous when the trampolines are wet. So it's all
Oh, Barry even got to jump on the trampoline.
You're not allowed when it's wet. And you have to also be a certain height and a certain age. And
I'm tall for my age.
There's a sign that says you have to be at least 9 years old. And you have to be at least 4'8".
That's the real crime.
Yeah.
I'm 8.5.
So there's a body, but I can't tell if it has ginger hair maybe from the distance because I don't want to kill a sweet, sweet man. I'll let that be somebody else's.
I mean, to be fair, maybe upon closer look, it's brownish red. I'm not sure the hue. I was never good at that sort of thing.
So I'll say it's a man though. There's a male body on this trampoline floor, and there's water all around. And yeah, they've roped it off.
Do we feel like he's Irish?
He's deceased.
Oh no, I meant the shrine. Is the shrine
No,
Irish? The body?
The deceased.
Fuck. Are we really gonna kill this man? Sure. You know what? He looks like he could be Irish.
Dang. And from a distance, you can't tell if it's a person.
Oh no. Oh,
Good
no.
riddance.
Strong character choices.
We really are in the past, huh? We're really from a different time. I love your dedication.
So we've already kind of done the next step, which is just like, how do your characters get here? We've got a couple characters already seem to be present, and that's okay. We've got Enola here and Sherlock here. Nancy seems to have arrived as well.
I'm outside.
Okay.
I've been here this whole time, but like as the wallpaper, and then I step out and I pull off the wallpaper mask. Knew there was going to be a crime here. I lost the accent that I had at the beginning of this, but that's fine.
You hear a knock from outside. Hello? It's locked.
Why is there a teenager on the? Why is there a child on the
It's
top of the mountain?
locked. I can't get in. Well, locked doors always mean that they're hiding something interesting. I better find another way in. Walk, 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 walk.
I open the door. I'm like, hello?
As you open the door, I break a window open with a rock.
Nice.
And I climb in. Hi.
Why are you're already committing crimes upon arrival? That's breaking and entering.
Oh, you're right. I can't believe I did that. I just really wanted to get inside and take a look at the crime scene. I was called all the way from another country. And
Alright.
I took a transportation vehicle.
You
to
do
get
understand all you had to do was push down on the door handle and push inward.
It was a push, not a pull. Did you get confused? It
yes.
says push on it.
I was pulling the door. I had my magnifying glass in my hand and I wasn't thinking. Anyway, and she just steps past you. The name's Nancy Drew. Girl detective.
Why do you talk like a liar?
Excellent. I'm glad to see everyone's arrived safely. Oh, yes. Hello. I'm the proprietor. Good Lord, someone's broken the window. We'll have someone. Hold on. We'll have someone come clean that up shortly. Yes, I own this ski lodge, and my name is Phineas Fogg. Very
Mr. Fogg.
Yes.
Hello,
that's
Pleasure
me.
to meet you.
Mr. Fogg.
I'll write it
Hello.
down. I take out my notebook from my backpack.
Excellent. Fantastic. There's 3 children and a man dressed as the wall. Fantastic. You're exactly who I was looking for. The 4 greatest consulting detectives in my Rolodex. And I've summoned you all here because there's been, as you see, a terrible crime. And so I just need you to deal with that.
Well, I was going to say the crime here is this decoration, the shrine, really?
Yes, absolutely.
I've never seen any type of decoration for an exclusive resort such as this.
Yes.
It seems rather out of place.
Who is
Yes, well,
this man?
This the person in the shrine.
Hmm.
Correct.
Irish
tell
son.
us.
I believe he's an
Irish?
I believe so.
Ugh.
Hannigan or something similar.
It's so
Oh.
weird they didn't put a name on the shrine. Normally,
Yes.
there's like a name somewhere. I'm sure I could find it if I just
Well,
look around.
You see. The thing is that our clientele are extremely eccentric. They're all great fans of Mr. Hannigan, and so they feel no need to put a sort of nameplate outlining precisely who this person is because they're such great fans. And this was, of course, a meet and greet weekend.
A meet and
so-
greet, you say?
Right, Mr. Hannigan arrived here to meet all of his fans, and now, well, he's dead. He's been murdered. It appears he's dead by some means or other.
Have you had
So-
anyone properly check said body to make sure that there is no pulse?
Oh, certainly not. I put up the ropes and called for the four greatest consulting detectives my Rolodex.
So how
I'm
do you
sorry,
know there's been a
I-
murder?
Look at
I
him.
did jump around on the trampoline a bit after they
Move
got
the body.
fenced off.
See, I'm trying to help you, friend, because if there's no murder, then you can proceed to jump around on said trampoline.
Oh,
So if that person maybe too much to drink after their meet and greet, perhaps maybe he's just napping. Have we checked?
have we asked him if he's napping?
Yes, exactly.
That is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
guess it-
I'll leave the sort of detecting to you. Maybe the adult in the room could sort of acknowledge.
He's
Excuse
dressed
me?
like wallpaper. You
Yes.
better
Me.
trust him.
He just like button down sweatpants. He's gonna like tear it off, and he's in a
Whoa.
suit.
Oh.
Stop
and-
taking off your clothes. We're a bunch of kids.
Oh no! And I guess I'm gonna bounce on the trampoline over to the body.
Oh, the
Is it-
whole floor is trampoline.
The whole floor.
I
So
see.
I'm just trying to keep it smooth, but I'm assuming the body's just kind of like moving.
As you bounce, we all bounce. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No double
Would
bounce.
would you mind, sir? And you say that we are children?
Is the
I
body
only came
moving?
because I was promised a fun vacation. I love it at the orphanage.
Wait, sorry. Do you mean to say you came here without parental guidance?
My mum and dad are dead.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
rude.
awful.
Well,
It's okay.
Well, my mother's
lots of
missing,
friends.
so
wait.
I understand.
Do you guys think your parents were murdered, and perhaps we should be solving that case?
Wait, actually, I don't want to intervene here. Just
Oh,
as soon as you're done with this one, you're welcome to sort of have a team up adventure, go on a sort of cross country
Okay.
extravagant, a road trip perhaps.
Can't do
Nancy,
that.
A
I
comedy
might,
of errors,
yes.
maybe.
I'll
Okay,
add that to my
right.
list.
Right. I put my
Yeah, just-
parents under this dead ginger fellow.
And
Right,
my
first-
missing mother as well on
I'll
that
put-
list.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right,
I'll
but
put that
first,
third.
the ginger, the celebrity,
Yes.
pseudo celebrity, Brant Hannigan.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
all
see
right.
his name. I see on the plaque. It says Brant G. Hannigan.
Right.
Who the hell is that?
And
I know,
Brandon G.
I am not
Hannigan.
familiar with what makes him so well known, but apparently for this shrine to be here and meet and greets to happen, it must be
Yes.
quite well known. Huh, maybe just not in my parts, where I'm from.
Well, again, they're sort of eclectic, my clientele. Anyway, it's a very exclusive clientele. They're a big fan of this,
Oh, right.
potentially a
okay.
deceased gentleman. I'm going to just go over there, and I'll let
Okay.
you sort of detectives sort it out, find clues, sort of speculate aloud about what might have happened. One up each other. Of course, there's what got to be. One of you has to be the best detective, but I'll let you sort that out, and I'll just be over here. Turning the water.
Wait, come back.
He'll be gone. He goes and
No,
stands against the wall.
I'm
And then he-
hungry.
We had to walk really far to get up this mountain.
Mm.
And I'm a little tired, but you know what? He's right. We should solve this case. As the
Let's take a
best-
look at the body first.
That's
think.
a great idea. As the best girl detective, I will take a look at the body first. And she struts over.
Excellent. It sounds like what you would like to do is roll on the clue table.
Oh, yes, yes.
So I'm going to prompt you to do that. Just that.
Okay.
Rand, I'm going to do it right now.
And now I'm going to do it.
Now, are we able to all do different things in this moment?
I think it probably let's focus on one person at a time.
Okay.
And then we'll just kind of go from there. We're gonna all have a chance to roll the clue table and sort of, monologue for a minute about why our
Alright,
clue is
okay.
so great. And then, you're welcome to jump in and interact, and then we'll, after a minute, go on to the next person and let them roll some dice. So,
Cool.
what was your result? Because I
I
could have looked at
rolled
it.
A 10.
A 10. And on the clue prompts table, a roll of 10 is, this is a good one. A chess set in the middle of a bad game.
Aha! She says, nowhere near the body. I've discovered something. Everyone, gather round.
Body is right here.
Come on!
Okay.
All right. I thought we
The
were looking
white
at-
is playing terribly. I move pieces around. I'm like,
No,
this
no,
should go
no!
here. Oh,
This is a clue. Here we have a chess set, mid-game, but a bad one. Someone was losing, and perhaps they were not so happy about it. Maybe a cause for murder. I think so. I'll write that down. Okay,
Excellent.
solved it.
Right? Again, I believe we should make sure that the person is indeed deceased before we jump to conclusions as far as murder is concerned. It is quite the offense. Long periods of time in jail as a result, if you are found guilty of murder. So let's check the body first.
Is Enola going
I-
to check the body?
Yes.
Okay, well, let us know. Is Brandon G. Hannigan deceased?
Brandon G.
I
You
don't.
just have
I
to-
can say. I can
you
say.
I want to say you walked right into this on your own, and I know it's a new game for everybody, and you might not have realized that, but there's no role here.
Oh,
You just have
perfect.
to let me know
Yeah.
whether Brandon G. Hannigan is deceased.
No, yes, and just in a very just kind of just going extreme with as far as like she's checking the pulse in two different areas, the neck, and he had a very a long, lovely neck.
Oh,
He
you're
needed to wear
right.
lower shirts.
That's a nice
um,
neck.
Yes, no, there is no pulse. Nope, he is definitely deceased.
kind of a
Excellent.
normal neck.
It's a nice neck. I'm just
No,
saying.
it is. It's very slender for a man of his size, and I mean, look at the hue. It's lovely. I would like to draw there's a sketch of it. Give me one moment, and then she takes out her her notebook and starts drawing this deceased person, and with their shirt kind of lower than it is technically on their body at the moment, but elongating the neck and just like really just making sure that it's a perfect just rendering of this person deceased with their neck
I
exposed.
turned to orphan Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes.
Sorry, Sherlock Holmes. I turned to the smallest Sherlock Holmes in the room.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
Bleh, I have a bunch of marbles in my mouth. It's strange that she's drawing the neck in such detail. Is that agreed upon?
Yeah, I'm only 8 years old, so it's making me, I reckon, quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel like if it's weird for you, it's probably weird for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm also staring
Wallpaper
at the
man,
drawing.
don't you like the drawing?
This
It
is a
seems like
great
you're-
drawing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fantastic drawing. Especially, I love what you did with how you made the shirt a little bit lower. This is
Oh,
nice.
of course. You
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
artistic, liberty.
Yes,
as it were.
interpretation. That is nice.
While
Really
while
nice.
Sherlock and Enola are busy, bonding over this sketch, does little orphan Holmes want to roll in the clue table?
Yeah, I'm hungry. So I'm kind of looking for some gruel. And
All
then
right.
once my brain is fed, I can solve this mystery right quick, yeah?
Yeah.
What
want me
am
to-
I rolling?
So you're gonna roll a d20. Would you like me to prompt you?
Private or public?
Public's fine.
All right, I'm rolling it.
All right.
I did it once before and I'll do it again. Now I
Rolling
remember
for
how
something.
to do this. And I got a 4 and I'm just kind of opening cabinets. I'm just kind of, we got to have an instant package of gruel here or something.
Excellent.
Like ramen.
Cup of
Cup
gruel.
noodles.
On a 4, your clue. The next clue that is now vital to this case that you found in the cabinet is a single strand of hair of attractive length and color.
I'm getting some kind of confusing feelings about this hair here. I kind of like to meet whoever this has his hair.
What did you find over there?
It's this beautiful, long, curly red hair. Like a beautiful lady's hair, I think.
I turned
It's
to
attractive
Enola.
to me.
I turned to Enola and point. Is it your hair?
Oh, that's preposterous. Where would you get such a thing? My hair is not that color and shade. Here, I will prove it to you. And she takes a strand and yanks it out of her hair, and then goes and like marches up to
I'm
Nancy.
still looking at the sketchbook.
I will have put the notebook into, as she calls him, Wallpaper Man's hands as she takes the other strand. Now, come closer. We're going to go right here to this table. Let me see your magnifying glass.
Here, I have 6. Which one would you like? And I empty out my backpack.
Okay.
That one right there. And then she just puts it, see, the strands are nothing alike. My hair is more conditioned than whoever's strand this belongs to. That's insulting.
Kind of rude to this person.
So, Lily, your sort of job, and maybe you've already felt like you've accomplished this, is to say like, why is this clue vital to solving the crime? What is that? Now you've established that this comes from a beautiful lady. So what is her connection to the crime here? Or you don't have to be super explicit, but like it's clear to you that this is a much more important clue than that chess set from earlier. That's nothing.
I just, a lot of people have been through this room, but in this here cabinet, there's nothing. And I was looking hard for some instant gruel. Instead, there's just one long hair deep in this cabinet. Now, why is she putting her beautiful head deep in the cabinet? It's just not natural. It's not a natural place to be putting your hairs.
Right. I think we're gonna jump over to Alec and let Alec let our Sherlock Holmes, the only Sherlock Holmes, find a clue. So you want to roll
All right.
d20?
All right. Roll it just a straight d20, yeah?
Just a straight d20.
You got it, boss. If I can remember how to do it. Ha! I got it. Okay. That is a 20. A nat 20.
20, a natural
Ooh.
20.
Let's go.
I hope that's good.
Excellent.
I hope
well,
so.
it's
The ce-
something.
The ceiling drops on me.
Well, no. So, okay, I'm gonna read you the clue that you found.
Okay.
And you can just tell me where you were when you found it. What you found on a 20 on this table
Mhm.
is a VHS of the TV show Frasier, specifically season 3, part 1. That is the clue that I wrote down for if you rolled a natural 20 in this game. That's your clue.
Wait,
Thank
season
you.
3,
See,
which episode?
Part 1. So the
Part one.
VHS is a Frasier. Early
Yes,
seasons of Frasier are broken
okay.
up into parts.
Yes.
Parts.
Okay.
Yeah. So there'll be a few episodes on this VHS, probably 3.
I love Frasier Crane.
I
We
like-
were always watching him.
I do
At the
too. I
orphanage.
love the little dog. with the father. It's so endearing. I'm so glad. Okay, we must talk more about this. Mhm.
Absolutely. I heard the reboot is trash.
There's a free
Oh.
Buddha Fraser. Sherlock will
don't
grab
talk
the
about that.
VHS tape and he'll observe it, and he'll look over at Enola Holmes. You love Fraser, and your hair was possibly found in the cabinet.
Oh, I see what's going on here. This is
How convenient.
absolutely ridiculous.
As he's doing this, he's pocketing the neck drawing. He's like, how convenient that your favorite TV show and your hair was found here before we even got here.
We have already proven that the strands are not alike. If you take a look at the magnifying glass,
I have 6.
yes, the smallest one, the one that really gets up close and personal, so you can see every particle, every single strand. There we go. Yes, see?
Yeah, this strand I found is much nicer than her hair, I think.
Oh, excuse me. My
Like,
hair
I'm
is
in love with
conditioned. I
whoever's
brush my
hair
hair
this
every
is.
day. Thank you very much. You know what? I am going to find a clue so I can prove that it's one of you. And I actually think it could be Nancy, because why on earth did you have to smash a window? I think you knew exactly how to enter this room, but you tried to pretend that you had no idea and that it was a pull, not push, even though it was so large on the door. You would have to need giant spectacles to not have seen it.
Well, sometimes the longest way round is actually the shortest way home, or the shortest way round is the longest way home.
You know
Anyway,
what? Oh,
Is this your home?
1 second.
No.
That is a chess strategy. I believe it is. And you happen to find the chess set. Interesting.
I've never seen Frasier. They don't have it on cable television where I grew up.
Could that be why you wanted to watch it? Because you never had a chance to. Perhaps your parents forbid you to watch such a pleasant show with such intelligent doctors in their field.
Now wait a second. Everybody calm down. We don't have to turn on each other like savages. I think that the killer could be in this very room, but it's more likely, it's more probable, if you will, that they've left the scene. Why would they stay around, hoping to get caught? Now, Alec,
Who's that?
Sherlock. If you rearrange the letters in Sherlock, it spells Alec. Okay. Now,
Alec.
Sherlock, I think that this is an important clue, but I think that there could be more clues.
I agree. I think we should keep looking, even though I'm pretty sure it's her pointing to
Oh,
Enola. But we
no,
should keep looking.
Absolutely.
I
And
got my
I shall
dialect
find
back,
the
my
next
accent came
clue.
back.
Alona is a fellow girl detective. I think that you're a great detective. And if you think it's me in the end, I'll go to jail.
That
Because that's
Nancy,
what a good detective would do.
No,
but-
no, no, don't do that.
What?
Um,
What? Okay.
I've prompted you for a D20 roll. In the old app, if you want to give that a roll, you can find out what the next
yes,
clue is,
yes,
and maybe
yes.
save Nancy Drew from a life in prison.
She's already thinking about it. And she's like pretending to wear handcuffs. This is what it would be like.
Well,
Oh.
you are innocent until proven guilty, and we shall get all of the clues collected in order to make a logical decision on who the killer actually is. And that it was a 9.
Interesting. Okay, Enola, you found somewhere a golden figure of your childhood hero.
Evidence
These
stacking.
clues are nonsense.
Who is your childhood hero?
Yeah. Dr. Fraser No.
It comes full circle.
Oh. Oh no. I think that I'm gathering all the pieces together of this puzzle. Look, come here. Come here. Come here. Bounce over here
Oh.
to this corner.
Forgot
Do you
to-
see this giant golden figure
How did we
of
miss
Carmen
that?
San Diego?
Where in the world did that come from?
Beautiful.
And
Do you
she
think
has not
this
been
is her
found in
hair?
forever. No, she only wears, or usually she wore red. She did not have red hair, however. Unless you are talking about the animated, the new reboot of Carmen Sandiego. That particular character had red hair, but this one is from the original version. As I guess you would say the newer kids on the block say, it is an OG. But yes.
Aren't you like 16 or something?
I'll have you know that I am an adult back home that is a legal age as far as a woman to make decisions for herself
Me too.
and start her career.
Right. I agree completely. I'm just saying, you said like the kids say. I was like, is that like what you say?
Well, I'm no longer a child, after
got it.
all.
Me
Got it.
neither.
This one here, however, who's looking for gruel, that's another story.
I'm allowed to hold a job, so I think I'm a man.
Where do you have a
Fist bump.
Where do you have a job?
The 1700s.
Oh no.
Can you be
I think I'm
Child
familiar with
labor.
that restaurant, the 1700s.
Yeah, it's a pub. It's a pub in Islingham.
I'm surprised they allow people of your age. Well, neither here nor there. We're getting off topic here, but this is very interesting. This, I believe, I will admit that there are certain things that I can see why you would point your dagger-like eyes in my direction, thinking that I committed this crime. However, I think it's someone who knows my brother and myself, and it's trying to frame us. Could it be Moriarty? Oh my goodness.
We don't know who that is. I'll write their names
Oh,
down.
they are the most evil of all villains you could possibly face. The lowest of the low. Nothing. They'll stop at nothing to get to their goals. Is that correct, Sherlock?
Yeah.
Other Sherlock?
I had to throw him off a waterfall for him to, stop. Yeah, it was a lot.
Isn't that murder?
Nope.
Oh.
You
Not
must
when it's
stop evil in
Moriarty.
its track, not when it's Moriarty.
Not when they're a bad guy. There's kind of like a
Yeah.
gray area in there that you.
Well.
Oh, you're still here.
It seems, oh, yes, I was just over there the entire time. I just sort of zoned out, sort of dissociated into the middle distance. But I'm back now because it seems like you're over here gathering clues, sort of casting accusations at one another, admitting to murder of other kinds unrelated
Oh no,
to this
we've
one.
concluded. My evidence right here proves that it is in fact Moriarty.
Well,
Again,
dead.
scheming and planning as usual.
intriguing. I think it's possible that you all need to sort of take a walk, calm down. I've heard many accusations, claims for missing gruel, and accused and sort of looking at sketches of necks and other extremely strange things. I think enjoy the vistas of our beautiful exclusive ski lodge, or perhaps take a relaxing dip in our sauna. Nope, that's a room with steam. I'm thinking of a hot tub. We also have a hot tub, and don't take a dip in the sauna. Right, listen. Do that. Step away for a moment. Come back when you're feeling sort of more yourself, prepared, as it were, to solve the crime.
Where's
One
the
thing is-
kitchen?
Kitchen.
Yes, he directs you to all of your. So okay, so yeah, let's really quickly, and then we'll take a quick break. So, where do you all go? Lily, it sounds like little orphan Holmes goes to the kitchen.
Gonna
I'm
step
gone.
up-
I'm in the kitchen.
Yeah, perfect.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna step outside to smoke my pipe and stare at the picture of the neck.
Delightful.
I'm gonna go to the hot tub because I've taken a note in my notebook about the body being wet and the trampoline area was wet and slippery. So I'm gonna go to the hot tub.
Okay. Where does Enola?
I believe that Enola would be following her new Fraser buddy to the kitchen, where there could be a potential weapon that was.
Okay.
You know,
used in said
Daphne's
murder.
from Manchester. I've been there. It's really beautiful. That's kind of why I like her. I feel like we're fellow countrymen.
Yeah, I totally agree. We are going to get along quite well.
Delightful. So we are going to, I believe, take a quick break. Kelly, why don't you?
Yeah, so we are going to cut to break really quick, and then we will see everyone when we return. Bum, bum, bum. While Andrew works on a tricky little twist to introduce into the game, I'm going to hand things over to Fantasy Tavern. Take it away.
Hello! We interrupt this broadcast of For Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes, to bring you a bit of musical merriment from the bards of the Fantasy Tavern. I am Harlequilinius, your wizard of whimsy, your mage of mirth, and your sorcerer of slay. And I am, of course, joined by none other than...
Grin of the Holler here, elven sorcerer, and a real bad witch. Non-committal.
And before we get back to the adventures of 4 Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes, we are going to sing a few songs, tell a few stories, share some dirty laundry, as it were. We might tell you about some of the trysts that we've had of the romantic variety from characters across the multiverse, both fictional and non. From Arendelle to Amestris, from Atlantis
To Atlantic City.
Oh, you made up good in that one. Whether you're a superhero
Or supervillain.
or the world's greatest detective.
Oh.
And let's just say he wasn't just the world's greatest detective, if you know what I'm putting down.
I think so.
Yeah, let's just say I made out quite well at Scotland Yard. Should I tell you a little about it?
Oh, please.
A Scotland Yard crime solver who helps poor broads and harlots. He left a mark upon my rump, a real study in scarlet. His pipe is styled with his hat, quite complimentary. And ask about his love for Watson, it's just elementary. It's just elementary. It's just elementary. And ask about his love for Watson, it's just elementary.
Well, I'm sure he let you smoke his pipe if I'm
Oh,
catching
yeah.
the drift.
He let me wear his funny little hat, too. That was really
Oh,
fun.
thank you.
I know. The fiction tells that he's not very romantically inclined, as does his interpretation by Benedict Cumberbatch. But let's just say if you're not hearing my pillow talk, you're only getting half the story. Now, Grin, have you had any trysts with characters from across the multiverse?
Yes, I have. I fell once for a witch who's got a face I can't forget. Although it's kind of funny, I could never get her wet. You might think that she's wicked from our love's depravity, but every time it's like defying gravity.
Oh, defying gravity. Oh, defying gravity. And every time it's like defying gravity. Ooh! Was your safe word Elikanamen, namen, noctum, noctum, Elikanamen? You know, something short and easy to remember?
Oh no, it was Fiera.
That's a good one. I'm more likely to remember it. Well, I also have a fun little story from someone I hooked up with, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
Once there was a pirate who from crocodiles ran, and let's just say that Peter's not the only one who's pan. Oh, we were high on pixie dust, some said we'd never land. I made him swab my poop deck and he lost his other hand. Oh, he lost his other hand. Oh, he lost his other hand. I made him swab my poop deck and he lost his other hand.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that one was really crazy. Now, Grin, we're about to name 4 different lovers. Is it possible that one of those lovers is a vampire?
You know, we're just gonna have to listen and find out. My new beau is cool, he looks tanned and tighty-whities. Only trouble is he tends to get a little bitey. He's really, really into blood, but that's my only yuck. And so I say, don't worry, babe, I'll tell you what to suck.
Oh, I'll tell you what to suck. Oh, I'll tell you what to suck. And so I say, don't worry, babe, I'll tell you what to suck. Oh, I'll tell you what to suck. Oh, I'll tell you what to suck. And so I say, don't worry, babe, I'll tell you what to suck. Oh, that is lovely. I did not realize that you and Dracula had a brief little fling.
Oh, it was brief for him, I suppose.
Yeah, he was wearing briefs. That's what I got from the verse that you said. Now, I'm realizing that out of the 4 characters we named, it's possible that one of them was a vampire, as we laid out.
That's
but you
right.
know what this has me thinking? What if someone made a TTRPG called 4 Vampires and a Sherlock Holmes, who is also one of the aforementioned vampires? Well, now that we've dug a little bit into our romantic history, Gran and I were at the Fantasy Tavern earlier, and we figured we should chat a little bit about the present.
Oh, I'll
Grin,
idea.
have you been dating much?
You know, I've been trying, but mostly it's been random encounters.
Oh, babe, believe me, I know about a random encounter. Recently, I went on a date, and I show up at the restaurant, I behold them, they behold me,
Oh, sweet.
which makes a lot of sense because they were a beholder, which I'm not judging, but that wasn't in their Hinge profile.
Typical.
What about you, Gran? Have you dealt with any catfishes lately?
You know, once I was catfished by a catfish merman.
Oh, from Atlantis?
No, Atlantic City.
Oh, that makes sense. You made up very well there.
So did he?
Oh. Well, one time I was on a date with someone, and oh my god, I worked so hard. I dug in there, and I finally got them to open up. And do you know what I found?
What'd you find?
They were a mimic.
Every time.
Every time! So because Gran and I have not suffered enough, our dungeon master, thank you, has bestowed upon us even more random encounters that I can only pray to Tiamat will not get us demonetized on this stream. Alright, Grin, shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
Bum bum bum, roll your d20, oh roll your d20. Roll your d20 and do it again. Oh god, to be clear, I have not read these before, and I am a little nervous. If I saw my village was raided by goblins, I'd whip out my sword to show them it's throbbing. Bum bum bum, roll your d20, oh roll your d20. Roll your d20 and do it again. I am so sorry for what you're about to read,
I'm
Grin.
If I met a mimic all filled up with treasure, I'd open the lid to its tongue, I'd surrender.
Bum bum bum, roll your d20, oh roll your d20. Roll your d20 and do it again. Oh god. If colorful dragons were the biggest of baddies, I'd teach them a lesson as their strong dom daddy. Bum bum bum, roll your d20, oh roll your d20. Roll your d20 and do it again.
Okay.
I don't have much to say on this one, I'm just sorry.
If all the mind flayers showed me their big tentacles, I'd be rent asunder till I'm unpresentable.
Bum bum bum, roll your d20, oh roll your d20. Roll your d20 and do it again. I take umbrage with this one. If I saw a flump, well, I'd just have to think the sexiest thoughts for my jellyfish twink. Bum bum bum, roll your d20, oh roll your d20. Roll your d20 and do it again. Oh, speaking of bloodsuckers.
Ooh. If Straw the vampire invites you to Barovia, just sharpen your stake and he'll be all over ya.
Bum bum bum, roll your d20, oh roll your d20. Roll your d20 and do it again. And I think this last one is a good message for everybody.
Oh yeah.
In the bedroom I tire of only one party. It's always more fun when you play with a party. Bum bum bum, roll your d20, oh roll your d20. Roll your d20 and do it again. Oh, we do not seem to have the best luck in dating, do we, Grin?
Oh no, but we got good looking friends.
Yeah, it's true. And that's okay. We can always take our revenge on our DM
That's
for
right.
giving us these really nasty things to read.
Moonlight.
Ooh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start the session by delivering a long, drawn-out, complicated, multiple Google Docs long character backstory. It's going to be tragic, and you're going to be sitting there eating snacks, and I'm going to be sitting there feeding you trauma. And it's going to last the entire session, and we're going to be just this close to a long rest, but we won't be able to do it because I'm taking up our time.
Oh, and I'm gonna walk up to the dragon and I'm gonna say, "Hey there, sweet stuff.
Oh, no.
Come here often.
Oh, no.
Do you wanna?" And then we'll just, I don't know, roll the dice.
Oh my, you're gonna seduce the
I'm gonna
dragon!
seduce that dragon.
DMs hate it when you seduce the dragon. Oh, and you know what I'm gonna do? next time we go to a town that's full of NPCs that you have backstories and names planned out for, I'm going to go to none of the ones you want me to. I'm going to go up to 3 little goblin children. I'm going to ask them what it is they want to do. And you know what? Their names are going to be something stupid like Garbo, Garbanzo, and Plimbus. And you're going to come up with a stupid little voice for Plimbus. Like, hey, my name is Plimbus. Yeah, you had complicated like dialects for all your other NPCs. This one's going to be like, my name is Plimbus, and I don't know. I need you to find my dad. Otherwise, I'll kill you.
Dad's really gonna hate that.
Yeah, he'll suffer.
Yeah.
Now, don't you worry. We are just about to return to the adventures of 4 Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes.
And I just cannot wait to find out what's going to happen to our adventurers on 4 Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes.
But before we return to 4 Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes, this game has me wanting to ask a little question.
Oh, what kind of a question, Harley?
Well, it is a question that we have asked many times over at the Fantasy Tavern, and it always takes a slightly different form, but it has a similar structure. We always ask, what do you do with A? And then it varies. We've asked, what do you do with a drunken sailor?
A classic. We've asked, what do you do with a dungeon master?
Oh, that one's great. I learned about 2 different kinds of dungeon masters that night.
There's 2?
Yes.
Oh.
I've asked, what do you do with a red-nosed reindeer?
Oh, that was for our holiday special. That was nice.
Yeah.
We've asked, what do you do with a kinky wizard?
I learned a lot about myself that night.
And I learned a lot about Harley.
And of course, we've asked, what do you do with a lonely goblin?
Oh, that one was, well, happy.
And then a little sad.
Uh-huh. And then a little sense of ennui.
But tonight, this game, this night, has me wanting to ask a very specific question. What do you do with a secret vampire? 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 Early in the morning, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, early in the morning.
Make him count.
Make him count, make him count, make him count, early in the morning. Way and up she rises, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, early in the morning. Make him taste my garlic knots.
Make him taste my garlic knots.
Make him taste my garlic knots. Make him taste my garlic knots. Early in the morning, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, early in the morning.
Teach him the Transylvania twist.
Teach him the Transylvania twist. Teach him the Transylvania twist. Teach him the Transylvania twist. Early in the morning, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, early in the morning. Put him on a date with Simon Belmont.
Put him on a date with Simon Belmont.
Put him on a date with Simon Belmont. Put him on a date with Simon Belmont. Early in the morning, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, early in the morning.
Put him in the sun and see if he sparkles.
Put him in the sun and see if he sparkles. Put him in the sun and see if he sparkles. Put him in the sun and see if he sparkles. Early in the morning, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, early in the morning. Show him that it's Morbin time.
Show him that it's Morbin time.
Show him that it's Morbin time. Show him that it's Morbin time. Early in the morning, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, early in the morning.
That's what you do with a secret vampire.
That's what you do with a secret vampire. That's what you do with a secret vampire. That's what you do with a secret vampire. Early in the morning, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, way and up she rises, early in the morning. Now, don't you worry, because we are about to return to some amazing adventures. But before we do, let's just hope that us asking the question has given them some ideas of what they should do with their secret vampires.
Ooh, I hope so.
Now, we've got to get going.
That's right. We have to get back to the Fantasy Tavern.
But before we do, we would like to proudly present the thrilling conclusion of For Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes. Ta-ta! Bye-bye.
That was amazing to watch. Thank you, Fantasy Tavern. I'm now going to pass it over to myself, actually, for the live game design panel. Okay. Just let me, are we live? All right. Thank you, me, for that introduction. All right, for everyone who joined the stream kind of late, my name is Kelly DeWindt. I am the CEO of TabletopTown, and I am here with some awesome participants for our game design panel. If everyone could take a minute and introduce themselves, I'm going to go in the order that you're appearing on my screen. So I'm going to start with Randall.
My name is Randall Bills. I'm currently the creative director with Catalyst Game Labs. I have been doing tabletop games for 25 plus years now. Mostly known for BattleTech, but I've also dabbled in a wide variety of games, including a ton of tabletop games or tabletop role-playing games.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Jay, how about you? Oh, you're muted, Jay.
So much for the space bar unmute thing. But anyway, hi, I'm Jay Schneider. I'm a game designer that works for Fire Whirlpool Games, and I'm also the lead instructor at the University of Washington's game design program. I'm best known, I guess, for a lot of my work on Magic the Gathering. As a player, I created the concept of the mana curve way back at the dawn of time, and when I worked for Wizards of the Coast, I created Duels of the Planeswalker for the Xbox. Since then, I've created a slew of other games, including a few with Randall.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And finally, Richard.
Hey, I'm Richard Ruane. I am the creator of Artwork Studio, and we publish Moonlight on Roseville Beach, Sherwood, and a few other games too. So
Fabulous. And for everyone, Moonlight on Roseville Beach is one of our featured games in our Season 2 collection, Dungeons and Detectives, all about mystery games. And actually, that's where I'd like to start. I want to talk about mysteries in TTRPGs, which is interesting as the conclusion has to be somewhat collaborative rather than writing, I think, a traditional mystery plot where you know what you're doing. And I know that although you have Moonlight on Roseville Beach, which is primarily about mysteries, all of you kind of dabbled in mystery settings within other places. And I wondered if you had some thoughts on the specific requirements that it takes to build a mystery in a format like this that is more collaborative. Go ahead and jump in. I can also call you out.
Sure,
if you
I'll
like.
jump in.
I will put people on the spot.
I'll jump in and start since I'm supposed to be actually working on a lecture on some related subjects. So mystery games, especially collaborative mystery RPGs, have some really tough elements. And I guess the thing that's always the hard part is getting clues out there and keeping people from failing. You have to fail forward. And that's really one of the big catches. So while I don't work on Gumshoe directly, Fire Whirlpool Games' primary publisher is Pelgrane Press, and they do the Gumshoe line, which has games like Trail of Cthulhu, which is an investigative Cthulhu game, and getting that right so that because you can't just not find the clue and you're done. Nice session, folks. And how to resolve that is always the hard part. And that almost tells a lot about the game as to how it answers that question.
Okay, interesting. So, Richard, I saw you nodding a lot there. Was this kind of a specific point you struggled with?
Because Yeah, this is something that I've been talking about a lot whenever I talk about detective games or problem solving or mystery solving games. Is that I think there was the notion that the ability to perceive the clue was the interesting thing in the early days of mystery solving games, because like our touchstone for mystery solving fiction is Sherlock Holmes being awesome because he sees everything. But really, the ability to perceive the clue when you walk into a situation is not the thing that's not the thing that sort of drives a mystery story forward. It's the ability of Sherlock Holmes to turn all that data into a theory of what's going on. And have that theory be tested and see if it's true. And then when you get to the hard-boiled detective era, it becomes even more dramatic because you see hard-boiled detectives just constantly throwing theories at the wall and seeing them fall apart and not work. And then, they've also got all these personal things going on. Their significant others leaving them, or they're about to have a fight, or they're being thrown out of their apartment while they're trying to push these theories forward. So perceiving clues is rarely the really interesting, challenging thing of putting together a mystery. Like, did you pass that perception check and find the small bit of hair on the floor is not the interesting part. The interesting part is, so there's a small bit of hair there. Why is it there? Why there's a fingerprint? Why is the fingerprint there? Is it going to turn out that there's something more complex? Is it going to turn out there's something sort of messier about this situation than we anticipated? It's rarely going to be as straightforward as, well, we found a fingerprint. It's Bob. Bring him in. Yeah.
Dang it, Bob. Okay, so that's interesting though. If you're not locking things behind a perception check and you're trying not to lock clues so that people can fail forward, how do you do that while introducing obstacles that feel significant enough that it is a reward to overcome them? Or is that just depending on the system? That's how it handles it, and that kind of is the definition of the game.
I didn't want to cut off Jay. It looked like you had something to say there.
Well, yeah, and part of it is part of the game. And, one of the things that, as I was thinking about your question further, there is the issue of hints to drive the game forward. And players hate getting hints, especially when they know their hints. So there's this entire issue of giving hints without giving hints to drive that part of the narrative. And as you said, Richard, that players coming into a room might see the clue, might discover the clue, but putting together that this lock of hair belongs to the person who just got a haircut or whatever is something that players might not put together. While it's obvious to the writer or designer, how you handle that is really hard.
And that feels specifically like something that's not necessarily genre locked, right? The idea of how to give players hints that don't affect their pride, that don't do that. So I think also that's interesting. And I know, Randall, working on Shadowrun, you have both Shadowrun and Shadowrun Anarchy, which have kind of a more rules heavy and then a lighter system. Was that something you had to figure out with kind of developing a more narrative based system, that the same thing of allowing players to fail forward, because that does not feel like a mystery specific thing, but just a kind of nature of the genre? If you lock anything, then you kind of come to a standstill, the story ends, everyone goes home.
Yeah, even then it's really difficult because, I'm thinking half of my, the Cosmos Exit series of mystery games, right? Half of my family loves it to death, and half of my family runs screaming whenever we go out and buy a new module to play, right? And I'm also thinking of my son was just commenting he's playing in a D&D game, and the game master spent all of this time to create these incredibly cool little puzzles for them to solve, right along the lines of what we're talking about. And yet they really struggled to solve it because he spent so much time on it, and it was so cued to his personal point of view that they were struggling to see it. And that's always the problem of a GM when anyone who's ever run a game has put together this cool secret whether it's super big or not, right? And they just don't understand why the players are not seeing it. I left all the clues right there, and then you have to start hitting them over the head with it. And so it's always a struggle, always, because, and I think in that instance, it's far more about the game master it's almost irrelevant of the rules in my mind. And it's all about the game master understanding what the players are good at, because some players are just going to be better at solving puzzles than others. And, if I think back, I haven't run a game in a year or so, been jonesing for that, but I'm thinking back to the group that I had. And if I'm putting a puzzle, I know immediately the person who's most likely to get it. And because we've been gaming for a few years, I can then kind of couch it in terms that I think, because I know him, he's going to be able to get. So I think of it kind of like Dixit or Mysterium, right? Where you can't say a single word, but you still know the person well enough, or at least you hope you do, to put together some images and some colors in a way that is going to enable them to get where you're going. And so to my mind, I think that's part of what you're doing when you're trying to build a game, is you have to rely on, are the players going to be able to know each other well enough to figure this thing out? And it's actually why I'm always impressed with the Cosmos games, is because they, I think, have it way more difficult than with a role-playing game. Because at least with a role-playing game, there's a GM, and you can kind of say, hey, GM, here's all the secrets. Whereas with the puzzle in a box, they are handing you a puzzle and then hoping there's somebody in the group that maybe can, quarterback this thing across the finish line. But I think Jay's right. It's just tough doing puzzles and mysteries and not having it feel like you're just falling endlessly behind and you're never figuring it out is always really detrimental to any enjoyment in a game.
So is it almost more important than you need a structure to support it, but you need to have a structure that is flexible enough for the GM to easily adapt it then to their players' needs? Or
I think
kind of like get around that?
Yeah, I think there has to be flexibility. And you're right, don't lock it behind a perception or there's a lot of games have come along of late, usually indie game related, but plenty of games are embracing that, where you have the fall forward, where it's not you didn't get that, that's it. It's more about, well, if you got this value, well, then you got everything. But if you got even close to this value, well, you're still going to get a little crumb, right? You get something out of it, as opposed to, I can remember being a teenager playing Palladium, and I'm literally walking down the cavern doing perception rolls to check if there's a trap. And literally, like every 5 feet, I'm checking and doing little hash marks, right? And 15-year-old me thought that was the coolest thing ever. Now me is like, that is so dumb. There just has to be better ways to do this, and we've come up with better ways to do it.
Yeah. I will say a quick note for also viewers of the stream, for Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes, has my favorite fall forward or fail forward of this mechanic for mysteries, because the solution is you have to invent what the clue means, and whatever you say, that's correct. And then everyone else just has to deal with that and incorporate that into their interpretation of the mystery. And I find that fascinating, because there's no GM traditionally. So you're all inventing the importance of the clues as you go along. Okay, I do find it, I want to kind of pivot a little bit here, because I've got the three of you here and your main games. I think this is all really fascinating, of looking at the broader expanse of TTRPGs. And here we have, I'm kind of picking three here, but we've got Moonlight and Roseville Beach, which is a mystery kind of eldritch horror, etc. There's a lot of genres there, but I'm picking that one. And then Shadowrun as a kind of dystopian sci-fi fantasy hybrid interesting world, and then 13th Age, which is a traditional high fantasy. I think the coming out of a genre that is very much traditional high fantasy. I'm curious how each of you picked the genres for your games, either in acknowledgement and conversation with that or in opposition to that?
I guess I'll start being the traditional high fantasy one here. So, first of all, let's make it very clear. The design work on 13th Age was done by Rob Hainso and Jonathan Tweet, with a few other people who are so much more senior in the RPG world. I'm barely lucky to have been able to do production work with them. I mean, and as to why we went with high fantasy, well, long and short, when we set up Fire Opal, Rob and Jonathan were both working for us. So I've got the lead designer of 3rd edition and the lead designer of 4th edition. And while, yes, I did contribute hey, we have the lead designer of 3rd edition and 4th edition, it seems kind of obvious what we should design next. And really, that was, the game that they want to play. And so we had to go into high fantasy, and we had almost no choice. 13th Age is a little bit different in that it's half-baked. And that is sort of the core concept in 13th Age. 13th Age changes the communication, the play demographic, or not demographic, but how play occurs and the communications model. The players create the world in 13th Age. And while it is a high fantasy the players define things. There are certain core rules that allow players to shape the world that the DM aggregates together from the players' feedback. So if someone did want to shift it to another genre, one of the better known 13th Age campaigns is basically CSI, and it's fantasy CSI, but it is CSI because that's what the players decided to do. And when they talked about their one unique things, I'm a great investigator and I can find a clue to a murder anywhere. And, they took basically things that were character traits you'd find in CSI characters and used that to build the worlds. And, then the GM, of course, has to live with it. And so that's how we wound up there.
For Shadowrun, again, putting that out there, that Shadowrun's been around for a long time. And while I've been doing this a long time, Shadowrun's actually older than that I've been in there. The wonderful apocryphal story about Shadowrun, though, is that it was being created in the 80s as Neuromancer had released, and the concepts of cyberpunk and dystopian future are exploding everywhere. And so Fast Corporation was working on Shadowrun, and then they heard that R. Talsorian was also working on a cyberpunk game, and that they were going to beat him to market. And so the apocryphal story goes that Jordan was totally freaked out because if they got into market second, then no one's going to care about whoever is the second one to come out with the first cyberpunk game. And so he was sick and had a fever dream while in China or in Japan, and calls his art director up to tell Jim, oh, by the way, we're going to put magic into this universe. And they had to do it in 2 months because the game was shipping in 2 months. I don't know exactly how true all that is, but it sounds mostly true from having worked with Jordan for a very long time. But interestingly enough, I think if Shadowrun had only been a cyberpunk game, one, it was second, but I think it ultimately would have just gone away, right? There's been a variety of cyberpunk games. The reason why next year we're celebrating 35 years of Shadowrun is because it is that unique mixture of the cyberpunk and the high fantasy in a way that still hasn't really been done in another setting. And it lends itself wonderfully to a whole variety of mysteries because you never know what's going to be around the next door. And so you can, have the bug spirit jump out, or you could have the orc in a 3-piece suit stepping out of the limousine, pulling a Zuzi out. There's just that I think mystery is just kind of baked into Shadowrun. And so that was a great example of just they were kind of desperate and did a Hail Mary and hit a total home run. And often that doesn't work, but in this case it did.
Yeah. I love that. This is the game the designers wanted to make. Someone had a fever dream. Going for 3 wide variety of origin stories here. Richard, what you got?
No, mine was I was picking up on something that a Ken Hite had, I think, half jokingly said, that a good game comes from historical thing plus nerd trope. And I think so it was very much like, what if we did 50s style queer pulp, and then we added 30s style weird fiction. So it's Anne Bannon meets H.P. Lovecraft, which I pretty sure in a fight Anne Bannon would win every time, including just being a better human being. But I think so that was very much sort of where I started. Weirdly, we originally were a setting for, or this, me and my setting, where Roseville Beach was originally a setting for Diogo Nogueira's Dark Streets and Darker Secrets, which started as a set of high fantasy rules, then became a set of like horror / urban fantasy monster hunting rules. So that was a weird sort of connection to high fantasy in the background there, but that was very much like that was a thing that happened, nerd trope, and it's been a joy to work on ever since then. It's the game that after 3 years I'm still not tired of running. So
can't really get a much better endorsement than that. I will say, as a lover of pulp fiction from the 30s to about the 70s and 80s, I love everything that's happening with that. Quick fire round here. Now, I just need to know, what is your ideal historical thing plus nerd trope that you want to see as a game? That is such a wonderful, just like quick duo of just like, okay, historical thing, nerd trope, let's go. I'll do a really quick one and give you guys a little time to think before I sprung this on you. I think historical thing plus nerd trope, I really want a either like Arthurian fantasy, but like very much not a reimagined, not a new King Arthur, but like the idea of like sworn group of like knights to a cause and to a person, but like an 80s girl gang. Like I love all of that. I want 80s girl gang, urban fantasy knights of the round table. If someone could make that happen, that would be fabulous. And Richard, if you've got another one, great, let's hear it. Otherwise, I'll pass it over to Randall and Jay.
I've got one off the top of my head. This is not something I would recommend anybody turning into a game, because I'm going to copyright it in 5 minutes.
Fair enough.
It's the Oscar Wilde sort of decadent circle of the 1890s. But as a Mercedes lackey style, you've been given magic powers to protect the kingdom. We don't know what the kingdom is. I have no idea what the kingdom is, because I don't think anyone would go out of their way to protect England. So that's Mercedes lackeys crossed with actual like 1890s decadence. So
I love that. I just started rereading Mercedes Lackey, actually. That's
okay.
So I guess I'll jump in, and this is in part, I'm reading a fictional series called SPQR, named after the similar historical description book of ancient Rome. And, just coming off of Randall's backstory on Shadowrun, just crossing those two and running ancient Rome with all of its traditions as close as possible into a Shadowrun environment. So, it somehow stays together for another 1,000 years and change. And we wind up with all the elements of ancient Rome pushed into Shadowrun.
I adore that. There's a lot to be seen in like dystopian future and then also the tail end of the Roman Empire.
Yeah, and just making it something so much. I mean, let's not have it go out with a whimper. Let's have it go out with a bang. I mean,
Yeah.
a really big Shadowrun dystopian bang, not just, overrun by the Gauls, unless the Gauls happen to be giants, which just seems to be a little better.
Yes. Fabulous.
I think for me, I've actually always wanted to see like super high fantasy mixed with super far future technology. And that's a really hard thing to do because, as Asimov was fond of saying, the moment technology is sufficiently advanced, then it just becomes magic. And there's been a few novel series that I think did a pretty good. Like I just finished rereading Julian May's Epic of the Pliocene Exile, that has this fantasy mixed with psionics and a future spacefaring setting. But having, mages powering starships but doing it in a way that feels different and unique, as opposed to just magic users putting spells into the engine, I think would be really cool. So if anyone knows how to figure that out, let me know.
I do feel like in a TTRPG setting, the only way is to lean heavily into making it real number heavy, real crunchy, like having an intense like rule system for magic, rule system for technology, and never the twain shall meet. Or it's just narrative.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that way you got to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 wildly different answers, and that's great. And Richard, I'm stealing that formula from now on for everything. That is so instantly just like, yes, perfect. There's my setting.
I will gladly take all of the credit that goes to Ken Hite for that. So yeah,
yeah. I mean,
what doesn't?
Unfortunately, that's yeah. Okay. I think kind of an interesting thing here, and we've talked a bit on this. I think you get this with dystopia, kind of that feel of it, and Moonlight as well, and then also honestly kind of the almost nostalgic setting for me of 13th Age. I think purely because I grew up on so much high fantasy that when I go into a world of high fantasy, I'm like, oh yes, this feels familiar to me. I already know the tropes, I know the assumptions. As we're kind of getting, and I think we're coming into a new era of nostalgia here, it feels like we have things like Andor coming out that feels very much like, okay, we're looking back at the political spy thrillers, the kind of thing. How do you build or create games, create worlds that kind of acknowledge the past and play with it while not getting like locked into the tropes of it? And I know, Richard, you specifically were talking about having like H.P. Lovecraft, but also let's not engage with like his politics and like bringing him into kicking and screaming into like a new millennia. How do you engage with the past and kind of honor that in game design that has such a rich history in kind of popular culture while not getting trapped into those formulas?
I guess I'll lead in. 13th Age, I mean, so much, you can see the tradition. I mean, we can argue that we have apostolic succession in 13th Age, just from, designers' handoff. And, so our issue isn't as much not, giving homage to the past, because it's so there. We are high fantasy, D20 system. I mean, we haven't even left the OGL, towards the Pathfinder or other things. And really the issue that we have in so many ways is excising the demons of the past as opposed to the other issues. I mean, one of the things that we look to address is where are the fail points of the past? And I know you're asking how we give homage, but we pretty much do, but it's really a lot of fixing it. I mean, one of the biggest issues that we addressed in 13th Age was, well, what do you do about the never-ending combat? Everybody's had it. Everyone knows exactly what that is. That combat that never stops because you can't hit the monster meaningfully and the fight goes on forever. You've already blown your alpha strike and everything else. And things like that, how do you give modern reward pacing? How do you keep the past that we already have, but bring it into the elements of including the party and, making the mechanics work the way you want to, the reward structure work, even just getting it so that as people change and the table and environment changes, updating the game for that. That's more of our challenge from 13th Age perspective than other games, from the folks present.
I think,
Randall,
yeah, we actually have an interesting thing in that we have new games that we do, but Shadowrun and then BattleTech as well. They've been around forever, and on the Shadowrun side, you run into issues of one, you have this wonderful thing where when Shadowrun came out in 1989, I bought the book when it came out. It was like 17 or 18. It was the coolest thing ever. And it felt so future, right? It felt so futuristic. But the comlink, that was the universal communication device, if you went back and read the description, which I did not too long ago because I was laughing at myself, it is nothing compared to what a smartphone does technology-wise. And so the problem with that Shadowrun runs into perennially now is that it's constantly trying to still feel futuristic while our now is sprinting way past the near future. And so that's a tough place to be. And then the other thing you run into, kind of thinking on the BattleTech side as well, is when you have a game that's been in publication all of this time, how do you then still kind of make it fresh and new? And sometimes that's game mechanic related. Sometimes it doesn't have to be. Again, this is more on the tabletop miniature side of BattleTech, but I still think it absolutely applies to all game design, which is there are plenty of times when you need to change the mechanics, as Jay was saying. Look at what's gone before, and we can do better on the game mechanics side. But BattleTech is a wonderful example where 5 to 8 years ago, we had discussions constantly of, do we need to update the rules? And now, after a massive Kickstarter and this unbelievable resurgence that BattleTech is in, we're not changing the rules at all, right? We hardly even touch the rules. Now, we can present them better, we can write them better, but the rules of BattleTech are like 97% identical to what they were in 1985. But instead, it's a representing of the art. It's a representing of a fresh setting. So it doesn't always just have to be one or the other. There's so many facets that make gaming and role playing. And because BattleTech, even if you never actually opened up the official role playing rule book, BattleTech has always had such a huge role playing vibe to it. And so you have mechanics, you have art, you have setting, you have all these different factors, and any of those you can update while still holding on to the best of what was in the past. And for BattleTech, it was those 1985 models based upon mecha from Japan just didn't really look good anymore. There you go, right?
Yeah.
And so he's
just as an example.
He's just trying to summarize. Well, that's a whole other. that's a whole
Right,
other thing I'll get
but
to
it
in a
does
second.
address the issue.
No, it does. It does.
You know,
Where
this is a
where
change to where you play BattleTech, and I'm hoping I'm not bringing it up very well. Yeah.
Well, you can use technology that we have now to make games better and easier to interface with, right? But speaking of the models, you know, I've got a whole plastic minis that my camera will do terrible. You know, if I hold up a Marauder to a longtime BattleTech fan, a current Marauder, they're going to look at it and go, and that's totally a Marauder. And oh my gosh, it's never looked better. And so that's, you know, again, I'm kind of rambling at this point, but there's so many facets that make up the games that we love. And sometimes just changing one of those facets can hold on to that nostalgia while doing something cool and new, whether it's art, whether it's mechanics, whether it's setting, whether it's technology, you know, Roll20. I never could have imagined Roll20 8 to 10 years ago would exist, much less the insane titan that it's become.
Really quick shout out, given technology, Tabletop Town.
Yes,
you can use an entirely new way to play.
Yeah, well, and this is one of those great things where, like, you came and you pitched to me like just a couple of months ago, right? And I'm like, I have no idea whether this is going to work or not, but I love the experiment. I love the new. I'm all in, right? Like, let's do this thing. And so I love that we're at a place where gaming is big enough, where there's enough people coming in, that we have all of these fresh ideas to do things differently and in new ways, and we're all willing to embrace it and run at it. That's so exciting to me, that I can be doing this for this long, you know, and yet it still can be exciting and fun. That's just so cool.
Richard?
Yeah, I think specifically to representation, and I forgot how you originally phrased the question, but essentially to representation. I think one of the important things that Brian Kunda used previously working with GamerX was our sensitivity reader for Roseville Beach, and just did an incredible job. Is a social work clinician by day, and has also been an archivist for LGBT community centers in Texas. And Brian really pointedly during feedback just said, like, there's no group of queer people who did not exist in 1979. They just weren't in queer literature yet. So it's not like non-binary people did not exist. It's not like people who it's definitely not like trans people didn't exist. And it's certainly not like bisexuals or people who are questioning their sexual identity or asexuals didn't exist. We just weren't, even as a gay community, we're not paying attention to their identities and existence, because we were just sort of coming out ourselves and sort of exploring our own identities. And so it was very much a revelation that we needed to make space for people to see themselves in the past, because none of them, you know, they as individuals are new. But none of them as a representative of a group are a product of solely the modern era. None of them have identities or experiences that could only be expressed or pinpointed during the modern era. We are constantly finding that, you know, there were lots of people who struggled with the whole notion of fitting into a binary gender before the modern non-binary identity movement. Or before we had modern notions of identifying as non-binary. So we wanted to make sure that people could find themselves in Roseville Beach, even if it meant bending history a little bit. It was certainly not common for people to ask about pronouns back then. But it does nothing for the person playing the game for me to be pedantic and go like, well, that wasn't really a thing in 1979. It's way more important for them to be able to find themselves in the setting, and to otherwise it can't really be their community. Which is then I take a very Stephen King approach to writing horror, even though this is horror comedy, that it's much more frightening to lose people you care about and lose community and connection you care about than it is to lose the vague concept of sanity. So it's really important to me that people feel very invested in the community around them, that they have a voice in making the community around them. I learned a lot of that from 13th Age. But there's a lot of, if they can't find themselves there, then they're not going to be able to connect with the community that same way. And connecting with the community is both the source of horror and the reason you want to push through and get to what's beyond the horror.
I love that. And as always, it seems like with every question I ask you, I get 3 wildly different answers from 3 wildly different points of view. And I find that incredible and kind of just highlighting kind of the broad nature of this. Unfortunately, I am going to have to cut it off here. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us in this. This was fabulous and lovely. And now I'm going to turn it back over to myself. Thanks, me. And thank you to the game designers for taking part. And now the wait is over. Let's head back for the thrilling conclusion of our game of 4 Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, who is also one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmes. Okay.
Okay,
So,
excellent.
Andrew,
Yes.
if you are up for it, we would love particularly trying to show up kind of the capabilities of like the speed of the creator. If you'd be
Yeah.
interested in talking through potentially like introducing a new twist into the game, like a new mechanic, a new role, a new hidden role, potentially something like that we could add and be like, this is kind of like showing the capabilities of Tabletop Town on the fly. Is that something you are up for? Or
Great,
is
yeah.
it like, okay.
Yeah, I'd love to give it a whirl.
Sweet. Then we've also got kind of, I know Peter's still on here kind of to handle technicalities and mechanics of that. But if you want to kind of talk through the process of that with me, bounce ideas, mainly so that you don't have to monologue to yourself.
I was prepared to, but it'll be a little easier. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I'll kind of give then just another quick intro so that we have not all this kind of cut off. Yeah. So as we talk
Okay,
it through, Peter will make
fantastic.
the
Thank you,
changes.
Peter. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
now that everyone has gone to break on, a kind of cliffhanger of like a bum, 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 Andrew is going to kind of introduce a new twist into the game, showing off a kind of Tabletop Town is super easy to design games in real time, no coding experience necessary. So these experiences, these changes are going to be happening in real time for the players to have a new twist as we come back. So Andrew, what kind of twist are you interested that kind of fits for this specific game with our situation of everyone split out around the ski lodge?
Yeah, everybody split up and they sort of, the clues were not just sort of a one-upsmanship game, but it was fractious. Sherlock sort of turned against each other a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm
Sherlock
thinking,
Holmes multiverse doesn't like himself.
No. Maybe if they were all Sherlock to a sort of vibe, but this is a great set of Sherlocks. I won't say that. I won't say anything against our set of Sherlocks.
Oh, no.
I think what we need is we need something to either sort of feed into that or to diffuse it. So we can introduce some sort of face-off mechanic where we have people like each do competing roles. Or we could introduce maybe I don't know. I like the face-off mechanic. I was thinking maybe give like the NPC mechanic, because in For Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire, which I'll stop there. Traditionally, there is not a GM story guide sort of mechanic, right? You get a facilitator who can sort of like step in and like keep the game moving and jump in with NPCs where necessary. But I don't know. I said it already out loud, and I kind of like the idea of doing some sort of like, one-on-one mechanic.
Yeah, facing down either. I mean, it's Sherlock, right? So a physical confrontation doesn't super make sense. I mean,
You do the it's a mind palace. Like it's one of those in the Robert Downey Jr. movies where he like sets up the scene. It's like, he'll drop that and I'll get him, and then his windpipe will be, he'll be winded and I'll spin around. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's competing like mind palace reflexes. Like who can jump to the conclusion first?
Right. So I think that will make it I like sticking to just the D6 and the D20. And I think we really just use the D20 first. Let's stick with the D6. Let's make it simple. That way we can have close. Let's stick with a D6 roll. And you sort of pick another Sherlock to face off against. and you both roll d6s, and then you describe what you're doing.
Okay.
And I think we'll do like a pass off. So like before you roll, you sort of describe what you're doing, right? You do the slow motion where you're sort of envisioning the scene, and then the other person jumps in. And they're like, actually, after you reach out to grab me, I grab your wrist and twist it.
I saw
and
it
then
coming, and I actually turn and move, and
it doesn't have to be combat. It can be sort of like in the middle of your speech, how you're explaining why red hair is more important than chess games, right? I cut you off with a fact about chess games, that the world chess champion was bald, and so it couldn't possibly I think as
just
long
a
as you're
one-upmanship mechanic.
Yeah, as long as you're having a direct one-on-one confrontation with the Sherlock, and then at the end you both just roll
top roll. Okay, so you describe how you one up, and then you roll to decide the result.
Right.
Okay, so
and then whoever
higher
wins,
roll wins.
higher roll wins.
And then
whoever,
what if they tie?
That's a great question. What if they tie?
It's a D6. That's a pretty high chance.
Yeah, that's fair. So that was I like the idea of being close. You're right. That does give us a chance to tie. Okay, we got to think of it because I don't want to just roll again.
Can a third one come in?
Yes, that's delightful. Okay, that's it. First of all, that's it. If they tie another Sherlock comes in and roll and does again it comes in, I guess, where the other two left off, right? And it's like actually, and then they roll. Presumably, you could end up in a situation where everyone rolls the sixes and everyone ties.
Yeah.
Okay. And in that case, I think it might just be whoever comes in last makes the call.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I like that. So the first two Sherlock are clashing. If they tie, another Sherlock comes in. If that person ties, another Sherlock until you're out of Sherlocks, and or until someone doesn't tie, either wins or loses, and then whoever was the last person to enter the tie
is the one that breaks
is the winner, right? Is the one who breaks it, and they get to sort of describe what actually happens.
Okay.
I like that. I think that'd be a good way to you could also use that as like your vampire introduction, right? You could have it be like part of that accusal or part of that clue sort of taking process. So we could work that in there if you wanted to. I don't know.
It's a simple, but I think it is a flexible mechanic with the added addition of the being able to rope everyone in. It's Sherlock's all the way down. Yeah.
That was great. I'm so glad. Brilliant. I think that'll.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Well, we are bringing kind of everyone back. So I'll kind of, once everyone is back on, I'll kind of introduce the new twist. Bum, bum, bum.
Dun, 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 dun. What a twist.
What a twist.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good.
Carmen Sandiego comes out of the woodwork.
And I was like, child detective is just so funny. And then we all chose child detective.
Yeah.
I'm like, great.
To be fair, Enola really does in all of the movies, she thinks that she's technically an adult.
That's true.
And should be doing her own thing. So, but that's also too kind of Nancy's thing too, because I feel like Nancy's always doing that. Where I'm like, how were you able to go around at it's like with the Hardy Boys that late at night? That doesn't make sense.
Well, it was a different time.
It was a different time.
Not that long ago. For Nancy Drew, at least.
They didn't have cell
phones.
Don't
you need a chaperone?
They didn't have cell phones back then. They'd be like, I'm sleeping in my bed. Put a bunch of pillows under the blankets, and you got away with it.
You got the window right.
Yeah. That's why she's breaking open the window. She's really used to that, I guess. A lot of strong choices.
First Nancy Drew book was released in 1930.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, she used to be more hardcore too. They changed her to be more demure.
Yeah, the publisher changed, didn't it? And was
they were like, she's less violent. I was like, come on, violent Nancy Drew with a gun. Imagine
beating up Nazis.
I think that's why they introduced Ned, because they were like, Ned, right? Yeah, they were like, we need to soften this and also do that by give her the most milquetoast boyfriend.
Yeah,
it's true. They gave her a love interest that was so boring.
He does nothing. His character, his entire character is Ned.
Yeah, I know. He's like, you're so smart, Nancy Drew.
Does he at least get kidnapped? I've not read a lot of Nancy Drew. Does he at least get kidnapped and Nancy rescues him, or is he just
cool.
I don't think
Not
so.
really.
I don't think a
He's
kidnapping.
just like,
Jeez.
good job.
Yeah,
I
he's
do
always
think
just
that
like-
he did get
Thanks.
beat up or something happened where he got hit upside the head and like knocked
Depends
out.
on
I
depends
did
on who
nothing.
wrote the books. Okay. Anyway.
Nancy Drew.
Yeah, now we're all googling Nancy Drew.
I know. I'm like, wait, hold on. I know something went down. I also too had to Google because I was like, I actually am in real life a Frasier fan, and I was like, let me take a look at this season.
I literally looked it up too because I was like,
And I'm
maybe
like,
there's some-
oh, that's when he had that whole thing with his the new station manager.
I
and I
love
was like,
that you are
okay.
treating this like a very important clue. You're really in
Yeah.
character.
Yeah. Now I want to know. I'm like, wait, this is
What does that
this
mean?
is what does it
A
mean?
new station manager. Oh my god.
No, but I also too, just as the person who designed the game, why was it this specific season and
Right.
part for you? I'm curious.
I,
There's no reason.
No, I googled VHS of Frasier because I wanted to find out like did they package it by season. Surely not. It's a VHS, and that was the first one that came up. Like, great, that's perfect. Season 3, part 1, done. I'm done. D20. It was the last entry in the table too. I did this one in order. I'm like 20. I'm out.
That's great. I love it.
Fair enough.
I love it. And
Okay,
here I am. I'm literally
okay.
trying to get to the bottom of it, and it's like, nope.
I mean, the clues, right? The clue, since this crime can be set up any way, so the clues have to fit any potential crime.
True.
So the onus is completely on. Listen, I'm enjoying this. I'm happy to break because like I'm not doing any work. You are the ones that have to like put in all the work because the onus is on the players to find out why does the clue make sense for this crime. And at the end, some unlucky or very lucky happy person is going to end up having to justify at least some of the clues to fit with a crime of some sort that's happened here. So
We killed knockoff Brendan Lee Mulligan.
That was
So funny.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a copyright on his name. Why was everyone so afraid to say
We were all just
felt
dancing
bad
around
about-
it. I don't think
we
anybody
felt
wanted
bad
to be a
about
person.
like we
Yeah.
killed a real we didn't want to kill a real human person in our game. I
Real-
think
American hero.
And the only reason why what came to mind when that prompt came up, I was picturing. I remember somebody had created like a fake shrine where it was like basically his candles that look like the Santa Maria candles. 'Cause there's one, I think Abria has hers.
Oh yeah,
And he has his,
Oh my
and it was
God.
like it had like D20s and the thing, like it was a joke. And so I instantly, I don't know why that came to mind, and I was like,
You're like, candles, shrine.
I probably should have said that because now he's dead.
Brant, hold on.
Don't give people
Brant
ideas.
Brant G Hannigan. Brandon G
Hannigan.
Hannigan.
Brandon
G.
Hannigan.
Hannigan.
Brandon Brant for short, I
Brand for
guess.
short.
G Hannigan. Unless Peter is very good about the editing, I think we've said both Brandon and Brant.
Brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Who really gets
Brand can be
NPC
short for
names
Brandon,
correct
it's fine.
anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to kind of do a quick intro back and then we are good to keep going. So, welcome back, everyone. What our players actually do not know is that during this quick break, Andrew and I talked some things through and we introduced a new twist in the game that will be coming up later that got updated in all of your rule sets. So when that happens, you will find out. Okay, and with that, I'm going to hand control back over to Andrew.
Fantastic. Welcome back to For Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire. And I did promise I wouldn't say the whole name again. We are deep in a mystery. Someone has crimed and killed as part of that crime. We've now confirmed internet tabletop celebrity Brandon G. Hannigan. At the top
Never
of this
seen him.
exclusive ski lodge with a trampoline floor and a shrine to Mr. Hannigan. And our four Sherlock Holmes characters have come to investigate. And they've now, after finding a handful of clues, have shipped off into different parts of the lodge to sort of take a minute. So I think we're going to briefly visit each of our Sherlock Holmes, give the player a chance to sort of reintroduce their character. And then I'll get us all back to the action. So let's find out. Alec, what is your Sherlock doing?
I wish I had something different to say, but he's sitting there. He's got his pipe at the edge of his lip, and he's just looking at the neck for a long time in the picture. Then folds it closed, puts it in his pocket, It's a nice neck. Shame. And then I'm just gonna walk back into the lodge.
All right, so we see Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes return to the lodge.
The accent comes and goes. I don't know.
Sydney, your Sherlock, your investigator went somewhere by themselves.
Yeah. I went to the hot tub sauna area. We've established there's both. And I imagine they're maybe nearby. But they're both wet, sort of, unless the sauna is a dry sauna. In that case, it's not wet, Nancy is thinking. But when she gets alone, she says out loud, "Oh, this case is so hard to do. This is so difficult to do this case. Everybody wants to blame me. And it is so hard to talk with my American accent and not reveal where I am really from. It is so hard to be a teen girl detective in a world that wants to break you down." And she splashes the water in the hot tub. "I'm no adult, even though I act like one. I am adult in my home country, but not here at this fantastic ski lodge. Oh, it's so hard to be a teen girl in society." And she would like to, after she emotes and monologues, she would like to look around this hot tub sauna area for any revealing clues about the wetness inside.
Excellent. I think we'll establish that the hot tub is in the sauna. So it's like a wooden sauna room. There's benches around the edge.
God, it's hot in
and then
here.
in
That's
the
just an
middle of the
oven.
room is a recessed hot tub. That's where all the steam and heat is
Do
coming from.
that. Okay.
So before we find out what sort of clues our worldly Nancy Drew might find, we'll jump to our last two characters who I believe ended up in the same space. Lily and Briana, what are you up to?
Oh, please
I'm
tell me you've
just
seen that
opening
delightful.
cabinets.
You've seen that delightful episode, right? Of the one where Martin is singing "Oh Holy Night" and he hits all of the notes incorrectly. It is absolutely
I
hysterical.
love that episode. I miss him. You know, he was
I
such a good actor. Oatmeal.
Oh.
Got oatmeal.
Well, that is a sort of gruel.
Yeah. I pour it into a bowl and I add some water. Just tap, not hot. I mix it up.
Ew.
I put it down. I start, all right, don't think I need anything else for this. I open a cabinet. Oh, spices. Don't like that.
Oh my good. Is that garlic?
Too flavorful.
Oh, it's absolutely repugnant.
Oh,
Oh,
what is that even in here?
oh, disgusting.
Room
Please,
temp
please,
will
please.
be fine for me.
Mm.
I start slurping out of the bowl. No utensils.
Excellent. So little orphan Holmes and Enola Holmes are together in the kitchen. I think what we see is we see everybody sort of coming back into the main room again. Nancy is probably jotting something down in her notebook as she is just come from the the dual hot tub sauna room. And I imagine little orphan Holmes is maybe finishing up, licking the bowl of the gruel. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, I hope you've all sort of settled your differences or taken a moment to clear your heads. If you remember, I, Phineas Fogg, who is the proud manager of this extremely exclusive ski resort, called you all here, the 4 best consulting detectives in my Rolodex, to solve the mystery of what happened to this poor young man. And you all started fighting with each other and accusing each other of sinister crimes. So, I will once again leave you to solve this sinister crime. And I will stand right over there, staring blankly into the little distance until I'm needed. Goodbye.
Do any of the rest of you think that is just very strange?
Agreed.
Where did he go?
Is he just standing and staring at the wall?
He walked about 15 feet away, turned directly towards the wall, and is just staring directly at the wall.
It's like right out of Blair Witch Project. I don't like that.
What is
Well-
this Blair Witch Project?
I
you're
found
referring
another
to?
clue.
Oh, that's more important than whatever witch project that is. Yes,
Which project?
witch.
It's the Witch Project. It's the Blair Witch Project.
Right.
Which? Sorry.
Blair-
It's the
the
Witch
Blair-
Project. It's the
Which
Blair Witch.
one?
The witch is the devil. It's okay. We
The Blair
don't
is the
need to-
witch.
Yeah, we don't. What's your clue?
Should I
Right.
write that down? I'll
Mm,
write it down.
All right.
Blair Witch Project. Boy, my notes are looking confusing. Oh, my clue. That's
Yes.
right. I went to the hot tub sauna room.
Did you
And
figure?
what did you find?
Yeah.
They put a hot tub within a sauna.
I think that's just a human crockpot at that point.
Exactly.
Wouldn't
I think-
one's moisture just be totally taken from their body? Not much water. You become dehydrated to an extreme degree.
Or the opposite. You become too hydrated. Have you ever heard the fact that if you drink too much water, you can die? I read it in a fact booklet, and the backside of the fact booklet had a lot of jokes, but the inside had a lot of facts. So I think it was mostly a fact booklet and not a joke book. I don't much enjoy the joke books. I
Oh,
really
and you
like
know-
the fact books.
You are onto something, Nancy. Think about it. We are at a ski lodge, correct?
Yeah.
And
Let me check my notes.
around a ski lodge, lots of snow. And when that snow melts down, what does it become?
Ice.
What is water?
Water.
What?
Yes.
Water. I'll write that down.
Which means more moisture and wetness. One becomes perhaps moist in death.
I'll write
You
down-
think the cause of death is moisture, is what you're saying? He
Well, I
died of being
believe-
too moist.
Okay, listen, it as Nancy has said, there are studies that have proven there is something that's dehydration and also being too moisturized or too hydrated. There we go. Too hydrated.
So
I think-
someone hydrated him to death.
I think we should all look at the body again and determine how
Yes.
plump his
Mhm.
supple skin is.
And that would explain the coloration on his neck. Yes. And who is the manager of this establishment? Mr. Fogg. And he's looking in a specific direction. And guess who else looks in different directions in order to find her escape? Carmen Sandiego. I think we are figuring things out, indeed.
I think we're really tying up loose ends, is what we're
Think-
doing.
I think so.
Adult Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah.
will you touch the body? Because I'm underage and I feel that it's wrong.
Right.
I don't
right.
think I should.
I have
that's
no
right.
qualms about this. Let me get in there with you.
Let's just roll them over and see.
Every
Um,
time we've been jumping on this trampoline, I might have pointed out he's just been rolling around.
Yeah.
We should jump all together to roll him back on his back.
Oh, right. Ready?
I agree.
And
Okay,
1,
ready?
2,
2,
3.
3.
Just double bounce the body.
Just
He
rolls
lands. He lands.
forward and then back down, face down.
Oh, I think he lands in the arms of the giant Carmen Sandiego gold Carmen Sandiego statue that was standing there, presumably like one arm kind of out and the other arm like out pointing. He's kind of like lands like draped over them.
Wow.
It's kind of a
Held
religious
gently.
experience looking at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess I'll look at the body. What kind of wounds does he have? Should I make them up, or do you want?
Yeah,
me to
what
roll
kind
them?
of wounds does he have?
So
How
we
wet
notice
is
that
he?
he's
Not
very wet.
moist?
He's
Is he
very
moist?
moist. He's very wet. But the one thing none of us noticed is the Bowie knife sticking out of his chest. This whole time, none of us
This
noticed.
whole
But there's just
We
time-
didn't
Oh.
see
Bowie
it
knife in
because
his
he was
chest.
upside down on the trampoline.
Exactly.
I'll write that down.
Now that's not a clue. Mechanically, I want to establish not a clue. That's some set dressing. You're welcome to include it wherever you like.
I think maybe that has nothing to do with the murder, and
Wait.
probably when we were bouncing him around, maybe we accidentally did something.
Bounce him onto the knife.
We killed him again.
Was the knife
So,
on the trampoline then?
That
Why would
seems
they
like
put that there?
yeah. Do you want to
so
roll?
dangerous.
Do you want to roll for a clue and see what clue you get? I think we should do another round of clues. We've got 4,
Sure.
and we've got
Yes.
some additional details that we're discovering. Moisture, a Bowie knife, stab wound, perhaps.
It's a D20, right?
It is a D20 to roll for
All right.
clues.
It's a 10.
10. That is going to be okay. Listen.
Oh no.
The way this game works,
Mhm.
we have rolled 10 already. 10 is a chess set in the middle of a bad game.
Oh yeah.
But you can't find the same clue. So what have you found is a different chess set in the middle of a bad game. So where do you find what kind of chess set is it? Where do you find it as you're examining the body for
So
knife wounds?
as the body draped onto the common San Diego statue, and we all see the Bowie knife, we also hear it click, and the statue just kind of moves subtly to the side, and there's another chessboard behind the statue, and it looks like the same. It basically looks like the same bad game, but there's a bunch of notes next to it.
Oh,
Okay, so whoever is playing this white piece, it's so stupid. They're making the same mistakes.
I believe you seem to know a lot about chess,
Yeah,
Little Holmes.
we're in an orphanage. We only got 2 games: chess and Chinese checkers.
Convenient. It's quite strange that there are 2 chess games of the basically same moves here. But why was this one hidden behind a common San Diego statue? I don't know. I don't know who came up with that strategy.
What do the notes say?
Is that a me thing?
As somebody, here's what I'll do. We're going to engage a brand new mechanic, and I'm going to set the 2 of you, Sherlock Holmes and Little Orphan Holmes, into we're going to go into the Mind Palace. Yes. So the Mind Palace is a sort of one-on-one clash. You 2 in the style of the Robert Downey Jr. movie, where he describes what he's narrate what he's doing. I don't know if that was right. Anyway, he narrates and there's action in slow motion, and then it all happens really fast after he's done narrating. You are both going to narrate, like you're going to take turns narrating what you're doing, and the other person will chime in and say, actually, after you do your first thing, I interrupt you and do my thing, and then just a little back and forth a couple of times, and then you're going to roll, and we'll see who actually wins and what the outcome actually is. And I think in this case, it can be around the chess set. So I think you both take a seat on opposite sides of this chessboard, and you sort of engage in a quick game of like speed chess against each other. You can be like knocking, you can be like trying to knock pieces out of each other's hands, or like grasping for the notes. Just how do you sort of become adversaries in this moment?
So these are things we're actually doing in the character. It's
So-
not just in our mind palace.
Right. So there'll be a hypothetical setup where all of it's happening hypothetically. So
Yeah.
in one example, right, you might say like, I kick you in the knee and you buckle and I give you an uppercut to the jaw. Like not in this case, not in this case. Right, not in this case.
I'm like, oh
In
my
the-
goodness.
In the the Guy Ritchie Robert Downey Jr. movies,
Right.
it's all combat. He's all doing
Right.
this fighting stuff. And in one of them, he fights somebody who has the same power, and it's sort of like they're sort of sparring off mentally. And he's like, actually, you reach out to grab me, but I punch you in the shoulder and you go, oh, and twist, and then you grab the. So what's going to happen is we'll say Alec can go first. Alec will describe what he does to like overcome Little Orphan Holmes in this at the setup.
Pick on
and
someone
then-
your own size.
And the
okay?
Lily will jump in and say, actually, and then you'll describe what you do to best Sherlock Holmes, and then we can go back to Alec and then back to Lily one more time, and you'll each roll a d6, and we'll see who actually narrates the outcome.
I'll go, oh, look, gruel. And I'll move a piece when they get distracted by gruel to match the move that they did on the other chessboard so it looks the same, just like the move that they had done.
Actually, I already have gruel. I took some from the kitchen. I take a pack out my pocket. I pour it dry in my mouth. Rain food, and I switch the piece back.
I go, oh, is that Fraser Crane walking in the door right now? And then I'll switch the pieces one more time.
Okay. Actually, Fraser Crane is a fictional character, and Kelsey Grammer's a bad man. And I switch the pieces back.
I got lost this one. Honestly.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, it's yet to be determined. So I think you each roll a d6.
D6.
And there is, we'll see. There is a tie mechanic that would be a while to bring in at this point. We'll just see how that works.
I got a 5.
Ooh, it's pretty good roll.
I got a 5.
Oh,
we docked the
this could
tie.
could not be any more perfect. Okay, so great. The tiebreaker mechanic. Now, again, I want to point out, Kelly and I came up with this in about 7 minutes.
Oh boy.
But it's good. I love it. Another Sherlock Holmes will enter this fray and roll. So I'm gonna let Sydney, Briana, which of you would like to jump in? There's a chess match happening, but you can see them both just sitting there. Yeah, they're just sitting there doing nothing. But you can envision that they're like mentally plotting their moves and counter moves towards each other, and then one of you jumps in.
You? Après vous. Do you want to go?
Okay, it's gonna be Sydney.
I'll walk over. I walk over and I flip the chessboard.
Slow motion in your mind palace.
Fly. Yeah, the pieces fly, and as it's
It's
happening,
okay, because I grab all the
They
pieces
didn't have
in the
it
air.
No, okay, yeah, and then I imagine you grabbing the pieces in the air, and I'm like, I can't be beat by an 8-year-old boy detective. I'm the world's best girl detective. And then, like, in the mind palace of you grabbing the pieces, I see, like, as you grab a piece, on the underside of the piece is like a stamp or something. Like there's a carving.
Vital clue.
And I zoom back out and I just walk up calmly.
All right, now you roll your d6.
Oh no.
To see how it goes.
Okay. Can I roll that like on our main?
Yeah, go ahead and roll it in the old feed.
Oh wait, that's a d20.
Well, you would sure win if you rolled the d20.
I rolled the highest. Okay.
17.
D6. Here we go. Come on.
3. Okay.
Well.
Fantastic. So at this point, I believe we default to the last person who who was in the tie, which would be Lily. So Alec went first, describing the Lily, then Alec, then Lily. There was a tie. Cindy came in. Cindy could not break the tie, so we're just defaulting back to Lily. So Little Orphan Holmes is the winner of this sort of skirmish. But what actually happened? So far, nothing has happened. So Lily, tell us exactly who does what based on what they've said, and what do you do to sort of get the best of them both? No pressure.
So they've both been in their mind palaces.
I didn't even walk over. I'm just standing staring.
Wow.
Just staring.
But you can describe like
a long die.
the setup, right? So you could say that that's what happens, right? She walks. Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes makes a move. You make the move back with the gruel, switching the pieces. You do it back and forth with the Fraser.
Okay, here's what I do.
Okay.
I look at the board. I look at them looking at the board. I sit down on the white side. I play both sides until white has checkmate. And then I open the packet of oatmeal and I pour it dry in my mouth. And I'm like, I'm telling you, you can't work on an empty stomach.
Okay, so you sort of outwit everybody by doing the move that no one expected, by just quickly playing the game against yourself, both sides. And then you finish off with a shot of dry gruel. Instant gruel.
That's right. And did that move the story forward at all? I don't know.
Yeah, it did. That's fantastic. Now I think we will. So let's see. Alec invented the chessboard. Had the chessboard. But I'll say Sydney brought up the idea of a stamp on the bottom of one of the chess pieces. So I think we'll say the story advances in that way, and we'll make you.
Wait, yeah, I can help you out there.
Yeah.
I play both sides until my queen has a piece on checkmate, and I knock it over, and there's a stamp underneath.
Knock over the king, and there's a stamp underneath. Okay. We'll say that's the clue that you determined. So
Okay.
what does this stamp mean? What does the stamp look like? What could this possibly mean? How does Little Orphan Olms say this is the clue that unravels the whole case? This solves it, it doesn't actually have to solve it yet, but this is the clue that you've been waiting for. And it's a lot of pressure on you. We just had you do all this.
I also want to say, when you discover that, I had thought of that in my mind palace, and when you're like, oh, look, and you lift it up, Nancy Drew screams from the other side of the room, I found it first! No! And she starts freaking out. She hits her head into the wall, and she's like, I knew about it first! And then she just starts going back into her accent. She's like, you did not even think of that before I think of it. I think of it first. I am best girl detective in the entire world.
What? Wait. You're not from where you said you were, even though you never said exactly where you were from to begin with. I just realized, and now I want to know. And so does Holmes and
Yes, of course.
Smaller Holmes.
I'm so sorry that I had a freak out, but I had thought of that in my mind palace, and that is my private place.
Okay. We usually try to work through that with special exercises. We usually count from 10 and then go on down from there.
I have not gone to therapy. I am best girl detective in the world. You think my parents did not send me to therapy at 10 years old? I am a freak.
Yes, but where did your parents
Where?
send you therapy? Because
Exactly.
As much as I appreciate the therapy talk here, it's very important. See a therapist, kids.
I feel like I said she was being mighty suspicious right as she came in. She couldn't answer that, and everyone thought I was being rude, but actually she was being suspicious.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And the way that she entered when we first all were gathered together, again, I still find that very, very odd and suspicious as well.
I'm sorry that I lied, though I never really lied because I'm Nancy Drew. I do not lie. I did not tell the truth because I thought that perhaps I would become pariah, but I am not from the United States. I am from Transylvania.
Right.
Oh.
And you could
That's
not walk through the door at the beginning.
Oh.
Could you?
Everything is making so much more sense.
You know what? In hindsight, 2020, at the time, a funny bit, but now looking back, I realize I have dug myself quite a deep grave, hole, whatever.
It sounds like are we ready? Are we ready to enter the final stage of the game wherein someone accuses someone else of being one of those dark creatures, the sinister, sanguine vampires?
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
The stamp at the bottom of the chess piece is a carving of David Hyde Pierce.
Is it just his face as it appeared in Frasier, baking a face?
Yeah, it's just him.
Is it really detailed, or is it it just kind of looks like him?
No, it's really detailed. It's really
Holy
good. It's
shit.
the craftsmanship is incredible.
Also, I feel like he's got a very he's got a memorable face, but it would have to be a pretty good detail for me to look at a stamp on the bottom of it and think, that's David Hyde Pierce, and I go, this is weird, baldish kind of guy. I don't know. It could be
He's
anybody.
a really good 8-year-old detective. He's really good.
Young Holmes, bring that closer. Do you remember? Wait, the VHS season 3 part 1. Do you remember?
Take my magnifying glasses to look closer.
No, because you are now young lady, on the top of our suspect list.
I'll write it down.
But if you remember in season 3, Niles was going through a divorce from his wife. And you see that the actor's face is so vividly put onto the bottom of this chess piece. That cannot be mere coincidence.
I think it's sadder to be a child of divorce than to just have dead parents. That was a sad season.
You took us to a very dark place, darker than where we are currently with this dead body.
With a Bowie knife in his
Yes.
chest, and he's very
Yes.
moist. We
Mhm.
bounced him around for like 20 minutes.
Did we ever figure out what liquid it was that
We
we
don't.
were?
Nope.
We're saving that one. We're saving that one for
Okay,
somebody.
we'll
Somebody to
hold
resolve.
on to that thought. We'll put a pin in it.
I don't want to. Actually, it's not me. From like the bottom of the. Yes, I hate to be a sort of wet blanket on the situation. Phineas Fogg just sort of like leans, like arises up into the camera view.
Why don't you just stand it? All right.
No, I'm right here. I'm right here. I don't need to be a sort of wet blanket, but it sounds, from the look of it, as though one of you might be that most sinister of creatures, that most heinous and blasphemous being that walks the earth. A vampire.
Well, I thought you were going to say podcaster.
Oh.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Yes, despicable, absolutely. What do you? I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to listen to you tell me about what products I should buy. Sell me a subscription service for the Steak of the Month Club.
I'm pretty sure stamps.com is right wing. I'm not buying it.
And you should
why,
not.
Why do I
agree.
need manscape? I don't need to manscape. It is not my demographic, and yet every single time.
I can buy my own clothes, not to ship me a whole box of socks and underwear and what have you.
It is good. We are all in agreement, so I think we can say
Right,
we're
but-
friends. Oh,
No, not friends, Frasier, if I heard correctly. But listen, I don't want to sort of, my accent is fading in and out. I don't want to sort of.
Trust me, I get it.
Yes, I thought you might.
We understand.
Yes.
Right.
I don't want to sort of stick my nose where it doesn't belong, but it sounded like someone was prepared to make a dire accusation, as it were.
Oh, right. Nancy,
yes.
when did you first start solving cases?
Oh, that is a great question. I was 16.
Mm-hmm. You were 16?
I did, I think, say earlier I am 16. Boy, I really dug myself big hole. Uh-huh.
So did you start solving cases this year, or have you been solving cases for many years?
Man, this is hard because it's like many cases I have solved, so it is hard to keep track of time.
When's your birthday?
Oh, that is a good question. I'm not Googling, just wondering, want to keep my facts straight.
Mhm.
So
boy,
someone-
not-
How long have you been 16?
I have been 16 for many successful cases. I've solved so many cases, and I just want to say, I am
Perhaps over a
not-
decade or
I
a
believe-
millennia.
Believe me, I know how this looks. But for a
Mm,
second, pretend I am mirror, and you are taking a look at yourself. Because here I am, best girl detective in the world, and you accuse me of being a vampire?
Can I open a pocket mirror?
I was about to do the same. I feel like it was like.
just
Okay.
do they show up in the pocket
just like-
mirror?
So we've got a confirmed accusation. So Alec is accusing Sydney of being a vampire. So now, mechanically, Sydney has two options. Well, one option, but two things can happen.
I
Two
think
things
it
can
worked.
happen. Either Nancy Drew is a vampire, and so Sydney then has to solve the entire mystery. Like, acknowledge that, yes, Nancy Drew is a vampire, but what's actually the most important thing is that Nancy Drew knows who committed this heinous crime against Brandon G. Hannigan. And then no one else, that's it. No one else mentions vampirism. You can all help, you can all sort of leap in with your own details about solving the crime, but no one else mentions vampirism. You're all cool with it for the remainder of the shot. Or Nancy Drew isn't a vampire. and then Sydney must accuse someone else of vampirism.
Is the person who did the murder going to be one of, or it could be someone else entirely?
Could be anyone. There's one NPC, it could be that person, or you could introduce a whole brand new person, or it could be one of those crimes that just turns out to be a series of completely unfortunate coincidences and accidents. It's up to whoever's sort of ends up in the hot seat. So, Sydney, what happens?
I am not vampire. I told you.
She shows up in the reflection of the mirror.
I'm in the mirror. And I point, you see the reflection through the mirror in one of those cool film shots where it's like, how is that angle even working? And I point at adult Sherlock Holmes, Mr. Robert Downey Jr. Holmes, and I say, you
Wallpaper Holmes, but
wallpaper man, you accuse me, and yet you are only adult in situation where you should be standing up for me. I think that you, with your love of long neck, must be vampire.
No, well, mainly because I could walk through without being invited in to the building. And this is a lot for children to know. I just like necks.
Okay,
I'm just really into necks. It's pretty much it.
In what way?
Is that what growing up is going to be like?
It's something your parents should tell you later. Just that I find it aesthetically pleasing. I don't feel comfortable having this conversation.
I believe my
with
brother
children
one
right
time mentioned kinks. That must be one of those.
I'll write that down.
We are going to get arrested at church. The skill like we should really. Why did you bring a bunch of kids? But I'm not a vampire. I'm just a weird old man.
But it now falls back to Alec to accuse someone else of being a vampire.
Well,
the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep passing it around. You know, it is year 20.
It's 2023. I don't know.
2023.
Yes, I don't know how we could possibly be missing that.
And Tiny Holmes, you're from the 1700s. What's up with that?
Oh,
are you a vampire?
1700s? That's just the name of me pub that I work in.
But earlier I overheard you had sort of an aversion to that most flavorful of root vegetables, garlic.
Yeah, because you see me mainline and dry oatmeal here. I kind of didn't grow up on a diet with a lot of flavor. So anytime I see spice, I kind of got to keep it away from me. We're talking paprika, cumin, too much pepper. I don't even like that. I'm not a vampire. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you the truth. If I have too much spice, give me the runs. So that's why I got to keep it far away from me. But I do think I'm getting a clearer idea of who's a vampire. And not just because my accent's finally coming in right, and also they're the last person, but I feel like they have a lot of suspicious traits, because we're talking about me, but Enola also didn't like the garlic, and likes necks, acting like heard of kinks before, like she's not the one who drew that perverted picture.
That is called art. Thank you very much. My mother and I worked on different art pieces. You must have many talents. I'm sorry, but I will not have you say that lovely piece of neck art was disgusting or perverted in any way.
So now it comes down to Brianna. You have to either admit to being a vampire and then solve the case, or defend yourself from being a vampire. If your character's not, it is possible to roll. There's only so many times you can roll. Could be that was a vampire. Either way, you're in the hot seat to tell us whether you are or are not a vampire, and then say, but more importantly, I know what happened in this case, and then you have to start running with the ball, and everybody else can sort of jump in and help out. We don't want to leave you hanging too much, but you do have to at least get the ball started on this after you tell us the truth.
since we're oversharing, yes, I am a vampire, but I will have you know that that is not my fault. I did not choose to become a vampire. It happened in the dark alleys of London when I was looking for my mother, and that's neither here nor there. I have actually figured out who, in fact, killed our Brandon G. Hannigan over there in that pile of mysterious liquid. I've put together all the clues. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
All right,
at
get
this
your
point, go for it.
notebooks and quills ready.
Do you want my magnifying glass?
I no longer need that.
Okay.
My vision as a vampire is actually beyond 2020. It's more like 50. We'll figure out the mathematics
Really
later.
good. Got it.
Very good. Okay, all right. Well, she cracks her neck. All right. Mr. Fogg, I'll have you stand right here.
Yes,
Because
it's me.
you shall not
yeah.
leave out that door.
Very
You
well.
invited me into your establishment, and I find that suspicious. Because you know that I am the sister of the famed detective Sherlock Holmes, and that I share the same brilliant mind, because it's genetic.
Oh,
You,
a bold claim about the way that the world
Yes.
works.
yes. Again, you own this lodge. You even mentioned the fact that you admired Mr. Hannigan's work, and that there was a meet and greet. How many people were at this meet and greet? I'll tell you how many. You were the sole person who was greeting Mr. Hannigan. Yes, you were. You were such a fan, in fact, you created this shrine. You haven't had proper customers visiting this mountain because it's, oh my goodness, just even for a vampire, getting up this mountain is quite the task. I almost died, sir. Again, and I'm undead. Tried to get up that mountain to get to the ski lodge. And you mentioned that you have this hot tub and sauna. That is where you originally put his body. You said, hey, this is a place for relaxation. Please, Mr. Hannigan. And the reason why you tried to make sure that his body was drained of all hydration and he died from not having enough moisture in his body was because of the fact that he refused. He refused to go with your particular idea for a show. Very similar to season 3, part 1 of Frasier.
That's right. You've figured it out. I had a great idea for an online tabletop RPG show. You see, I'd be playing the titular character, a sort of pop psychiatrist who works on the radio. But a new manager has come into the radio, and it changes the structure of the format of the entire sort of episodic arc. You see, it's the sort of my accent is coming back again. That's right, it's this. And sort of me and my brother and my father and the little dog and my ex-wife. And also, yes, it was all coming together so perfectly. But Brandon, he looked at it and said, "That's too derivative. I would never work in something like that." And I said, but I brought you all the way up here. I broke the funicular after you arrived, so you couldn't escape. And now you refuse. You refuse to be the game master for my incredibly brilliant and unique and individual idea for a show. And so I put him in that combination sauna hot tub room. And
But before that,
watched
you battled him in chess.
I did that first. You're
said,
right.
if I can beat
Twice.
you, sir, you will go forward with my idea. And he still refused. Even
He
after
did.
he lost twice.
Even after after the first loss, I insisted to do best 2 out of 3, and I switched to my lucky David Hyde Pierce collectible chess set. And even then, I was no match for Brandon G. Hannigan's brilliant
And you knew
strategic
that.
mind.
You were envious of his success.
Envious.
You wanted to become Hannigan. To the point, look into his pocket. What is that I see? And then Nola will go in and grab a big chunk of long red hair.
No.
To the point that you
My
cut.
wig.
You cut Mr. Hannigan's hair to make it into a wig so you could try
Yes.
to pretend to be him.
Yes, if Brandon wouldn't helm my show, why then, by God, I'd helm my own show.
But wait, there's just
Yes?
one thing, not you.
Only one? Oh, go ahead.
There's
Sorry.
just one thing that's still puzzling and unsolved, Enola. What about the giant Carmen Sandiego statue? Why? Why put it at this ski lodge when so clearly your obsession with Brandon G. Anakin
And
almost-
Frasier.
and Frasier.
And Fraser.
What is the reason? Little Holmes, what
Yeah.
are your thoughts?
Well, now I'm kind of disappointed because I was reckoning I was maybe in love with whoever that hair was. I was maybe kind of hoping it was actress Jane Leaves who played Daphne on Frasier once it all kind of started coming together. But now I just see it's from Brennan H. Anakin. And again, I don't know who the hell that is. So I'm kind of disappointed.
I think we all are.
Right.
And I have a proposition for the Carmen Sandiego statue. After flipping through my notes, I think I understand it.
Your notes your notes are just sort of a series of incoherent scribbles.
Yeah,
It just
You
says
read that?
why so serious?
Yeah, I
Question
don't
mark. And it says
don't
it a
remember.
bunch of times.
I don't remember why I wrote that. And there's so many pages of it. You know, I don't even need my notes. I'm the world's best girl detective. I think that you wanted Enola specifically to come out here. And if she wasn't enticed by a delicious case, which of course she was, she's another world's best girl detective, similar to me, but one
There's
rank
two?
lower. There's two, but I'm clearly the bird.
Well, there's one world's best living girl detective and world's best unliving girl detective.
That's a
Yes.
We
good
shall
caveat.
take that.
That's
Why are we
fine.
taking compliments from the murderer?
You're right.
Oh,
Right.
You purposefully bought this expensive statue off
Yes.
of eBay, and you posted photos of it, hoping that Enola would see it and want
Yes.
to visit the site of one of her favorite childhood. What was it?
Heroes. Childhood hero. Her
Heroes.
childhood hero. Carmen
Her-
Sandiego.
That's in my notes.
Yes.
Carmen Sandiego, and when that wasn't enough,
Didn't work.
you decided to turn to murder.
Well,
Sort
the murder
of.
was sort of the murder was sort of by the
seemed-
side.
Yeah, it
It
seems
was
like
just
it all...
with two birds, one stone sort of a thing.
I'll write that down.
But yes, I did. Then I opened my Rolodex and called the 4 best detectives, knowing that if Carmen Sandiego couldn't entice Enola Holmes here, then surely the thrill of consulting detective competition would bring her to my sort of sinister playground.
Oh, and look,
Huh?
Nancy, look at the back of the statue here. It says "Made in Transylvania."
My parents own a smelting company. Oh no.
And you knew that.
Ah,
How evil.
that's right. And you'll notice, little orphan Holmes, that gruel you've been eating. Where's that from? A pub. Written on the back of each package the name of a certain pub. The 1700s.
This gruel tasted like home.
What a demented mind you have, sir.
And isn't it
Mr. Fogg.
coincidence that the exact wallpaper costume that you carry with you everywhere matched the wallpaper in my ski lodge? Did you not think that was a strange coincidence, Mr. Holmes?
I just thought I was just always prepared. I thought that's what that meant. You insane man.
Yes, I summoned you all here thinking that my crime would be undetectable and I would label myself the most perfect mastermind ever, and that would land me the spot. Helming the greatest online tabletop show of all time, a reboot of Frasier Season 3 Part 1, starring me in every role. But alas, I've been foiled by children and an adult. And one adult.
one
It's really, you
man.
could have, if you'd been a dog, it would have really been like
I-
chef's kiss, but that's all right.
I mean, I could.
Well, the
I
dog
have a
didn't.
fr- I have a
I-
friend. I have a,
well,
I have
the
a
dog
friend that's
didn't
a dog
answer.
detective.
You're sort of a second.
Wow.
First mistake was murdering someone. Your
Ugh.
second mistake was calling us because we're the world's best girl detective living and dead, and also there's an orphan and a man.
And
Exactly.
we're going
Well
to throw
put,
you off the
Nancy.
ledge now because we can get rid of bad guys that way, right?
So you can
That's how we-
join your friend Moriarty, because we know you're in cahoots.
Shouldn't we
Yes.
just call the local
It's
authorities?
not murder if it's a bad guy.
Right,
is
right.
what
So,
we've
so do you guys
decided.
want to help me with his legs? I'll give you
Yes,
one.
yes.
Oh!
Let's put him through the window that Nancy broke. Okay, let's
I
go.
thought we already threw
Uh,
him.
Sorry, I was practicing. I'm
So
going now.
that's just a ground level window. So now he's just outside.
Okay, here, we'll drag him to the edge.
Okay.
A snowbank.
I thought he was
sort of
gonna roll
broke my
down the
fall.
mountain.
We're really drawn up. There's a
We
cliff
start
like right
pulling
here
him
in
in
the balcony.
different directions. No,
no.
let's go over
There's a
it.
cliff
Let's
here.
go.
Oh.
This way.
Okay. So what you end up with is a man trapped in a giant snowball with like his hands sticking out, the feet at the bottom, his head at the top. You foiled me, you various Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes related detectives. Do you have a catch line or a phrase you'd like to say or anything? This is your chance. Now that you foiled me.
Why don't we all say our catchphrases that we know?
That's right.
Yes.
That you all prepared ahead of time. I'll do
Yes.
1, 2, 3, and then you all say your catchphrases. Are you ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Elementary,
That's the
my
way
dear
it
Mr.
goes, my
Fogg.
friends.
By Nancy Drew.
That was kind of long.
We're gonna have to agree on one going
If we
forward.
work together in the future, I think we should do something like a secret handshake.
Right.
That was great. I just want to say, I can't imagine a way that it could have gone better than that, honestly. And I know it seems like it was a disaster that kind of just kept rolling all the way through. But really, that's the ideal, this is the ideal rollout of a game of 4 Sherlock Holmes and a vampire. And you know the rest.
And with that, we conclude our stream. Thank you to everyone who participated, and we're glad you all joined us today. Check out Tabletop Town, available now, and head over to our Discord and social media for exciting news and updates so you can stay up to date with everything we're doing. We're just getting started.